I don't know. Saturday. I'm just making sounds. Normal America show. Unannounced Saturday call-in show. Whoopee! Why not? Um, I was gonna stream later at like noon, but I'm streaming earlier because I got actually some work stuff to do around 1 p.m. Some behind the scenes, what have. So I figured, well, let's do the call-in show before it because later today, I don't know, they take the wife and son out in some fun adventure. I haven't decided what. Maybe we'll go to the movies. I don't give a shit. So here's the thing, right? Like, I love streaming. I do. And 95% of it at this point is because I'm actually super excited for the audience and sort of the community we've built here. I don't know if you could tell, like, I had a lot of fun debating last night. I had a lot of fun the night before that with Spiro and Avarice. I have fun when people are making fun of me in the chat and hassling me. It's all good shit. Plus, it pays the bills, which is nice. But I do stream an awful lot. And it's just little things. Like, I don't even give a shit. Like, this littlest thing of, like, just going out to, like, a dinner at a place like Applebee's with my wife and son. I just love it. I absolutely just love it. And just spending time with them is the greatest thing. I put my phone away. Don't think about politics. Don't think about culture. Listen to some cheesy kid music. Uh, it's good stuff. So I'm looking forward to today. I think it's going to be a great day. Now let's stream today. I'm of two minds. If I'm honest. Part of me just wants to spend 3 hours ranting and raving about the January 6th pipe bomber, and I will show you some information on that. But then I have seen the Deer Hunter, yeah. But then it's been a long time though. But then I thought, well, maybe I'll save that for tomorrow night's show. Sort of a deep dive, and we'll do Collins tonight, and I'll just show a little. Now, the problem's going to be for you all that are watching right now. Here's why I don't want to do the deep dive right now, and maybe I should save it for Sunday night or Monday night, because I'm only going to have half the people watching today than I normally would. So then it'll be sort of a situation where it's like, I'm going to end up having to double cover myself, and So I think I'll save it for tomorrow night. The deep dive. No, I don't know. We'll probably jump in because probably what will happen is I'll not have many calls today. I just don't know. So we'll see if we'll open up the lines here in a bit, and if I got a lot of callers, then so be it. How's your home going, Go Rams? I can't wait to get out and see it, man. Last night, I debated First Amender on um, SNAP benefits. It was, I don't know. It wasn't good. He didn't do so well. One second. I'll show you how that went in a second. All right. Oh, I'm screwing up. Give me a second. I have a clip that I wanted to show you. I'm getting there. All right. Oh, for crying out loud. This is incredibly frustrating. I'll tell you why, or give me a second and you'll understand why. Oh, Rob, why am I an idiot? All right, here's what we're going to do. I know this is great, right? What's Rob with the boomer tech issues? All right. I have to do it this way. There we go. You ready? Here's a clip from last night's debate. We're going to watch this clip several times. You ready? Enjoy this. Here we go.
What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you. What's that? I got a dick on my mouth. I can't hear you.
Now, if in case you couldn't make out what he was saying there, he says, "What's that? I have a dick in my mouth. I can't hear you." Now, one, the admission to having a man's phallus in your mouth seems bad enough. But second, very much indicative of the whole debate. A nonsensical opinion to avoid answering a question, and the answer wouldn't even logically make sense. How would having male genitalia in your mouth affect your hearing? That's it. That 2-second clip basically sums up the debate last night. I don't know why. I mean, I'm starting to think it's just impossible to get like a serious debate from a lefty. I don't get it. I predicted last night, the wording of the topic was, should we have significant reforms to SNAP? As I predicted, he conceded in his opening statement and in the beginning because he was like, here's a bunch of changes we need to make to SNAP. I asked him, do you accept my definition of the term significant as like having like effect in the change? Yes, I accept that. Okay, then you're advocating for significant reforms. He says, well, now, and that's just debate pro stuff. I just want to have a discussion. And then he proceeds to be a debate pro for the next 3 hours. Yeah, do poor people not have the right to dicks in their mouths? But, oh well, that's who was put in front of me, so that's who I debated. So we could talk about that, the debate last night, if you like. Of course, the other story that I think is worth talking about is the January 6th pipe bomber stuff. Don't send money if you're not sure if you're going to have money, man. Keep it for yourself. Now, the rest of you, though, we have $0 on the dono goal yet. However, I would like to thank Gorilla for gifting a membership. Thank you. So, trying to hit our goal of $357 today. Oh. Ooh. What is the January 6th thing? Yeah. Well, I think James was losing his patience. Let me be clear. The last time I was on Modern Day Debate, there was controversy over the moderating with this Craig and Max fellow. That's because the moderator was on the phone and stuff. I have no hard feelings with it. So then James is moderating this, and I know that it's difficult. And even one of the comments was like, James is doing a poor job. Yeah, First Amender got away with more shit than me, of course. But my goodness, James was basically doing all he could to like not just tell First Amender, like, shut up, what the fuck are you doing? While allowing the debate to proceed. So I thought he did fine. Yeah, you saw my debate with Godless Engineer. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't do so well either. January 6th. January 6th. All right, so a little background before we get into this story. I've been predicting that the two seminal events, the 2016 run of Trump was, the seminal thing was the Russia investigation. And from 2020 on, the seminal event's been January 6th. Right? And I had said that both of these events, in my opinion, based on overwhelming circumstantial evidence, that we were going to find out that both of these events were started by the exact opposite group than we were told. Or in other words, let me phrase it this way, that the corruption that we were told existed by Trump and his supporters was actually the very establishment that I claimed, or not that I claimed, that I'm so vested in arguing against. Yeah, I agree why First Amendment required a little more handholding. Now, with Russiagate, we talked about this a lot. The start of this story was this guy, George Papadopoulos. That's it. That's what we're told. And actually, we're finding out more every day. Here's the two things I said about Russiagate. One, if we find out that the investigation into Trump actually opened before, I believe we're told the official date was like, or the Trump team was like July 31st, 2016. We were told that basically this was the start of the investigation. I'm getting off in the weeds here, but I don't care. I'll talk for a minute. Wasn't the Steele dossier. We originally thought that was it. Nope. They told us this was the start. There's this low-level staffer named George Papadopoulos. He's palling around in Europe with this Maltese professor named Joseph Mifsud. Now, everyone in Mifsud's life assumed that he was connected to Western intelligence. The universities that he worked at were breeding grounds for people with Western intelligence. The type of people he hung out were the people that were around Western intelligence. So they just assumed, if anything, he was most likely connected to Western intelligence. But no, says the FBI. This guy was actually some sort of Russian connection type dude. This was the first attempt of the Russians to infiltrate the Trump administration. Now, of course, if it turns out that there was an investigation into Trump's team before this, that would mean the FBI lied. And the entire fucking story is a house of cards in the first place. I digress. This is the official FBI story. Joseph Mifsud's talking to George Papadopoulos. He says at one point, hey, I know these Russians that maybe have dirt on Hillary Clinton. Papadopoulos is like, cool, I'm willing to hear it. Hears out some of these people. They're basically like, hey, we have emails. They say something to that effect. Papadopoulos goes back to the Trump administration, says, hey, you want to set up like trying to have a working relationship with people in Russia? Trump administration people are like, nah, dog, that ain't it. Don't do that. Okay, fine. Later, Papadopoulos is in a bar in Australia talking to this Australian diplomat named Alexander Downer, who, by the way, has connections to the Clinton Foundation. And they're chatting, and he's like, gets drunk and is like, the Russians have dirt on Hillary. Then we find out that allegedly Podesta's email in the DNC was hacked. This guy, Alexander Downer, calls the FBI and goes, oh my God, this guy in Trump's team said that Russians may have dirt. And bam, that's the start of the investigation. What would happen if Joseph Mifsud was working for the CIA? What would happen if he was working for MI6? Because that's the truth. That would mean the entire fucking story, the entire justification to have the most powerful investigative agency in the history of the world completely tear apart the Trump administration, which would result in 4 years of his first term of fucking with him, was all based on a lie that was planted by the CIA because they hated Trump, or by Western intelligence because they hated Trump. That's the story, and if the truth ever comes out, that's going to be the most likely scenario, as I've outlined many times. January 6th comes along then. Fuck all that Russia shit, right? Now we don't care about Russia after we were told it was the biggest story in the world for 4 years. Now no one gives a shit. Get over it, they say. Okay. So now we move on to January 6th. Oh my God, Trump incited an insurrection. Now, I said almost immediately following January 6th, yes, it was a riot. No, that's not good. But the idea that this was some serious attempt to overthrow the government is laughable. We had an FBI investigation. Okay? But no, that wasn't enough. We needed a January 6th committee. So once they started the January 6th committee, you can go back, find the live streams. This is what I said. I said, listen, this committee's bullshit. It's going to be partisan. But there are two questions that need answered about January 6th for real. Like for real questions, not joking. One, why was there an inadequate police presence? Second, who planted the pipe bomb? Easily, the biggest thing that occurred on January 6th was the pipe bomb. People getting mad, shoving police fighting back with them. That's not good. But someone planting a bomb, trying to take out both Republicans and Democrats is a fucking huge deal. I don't give a shit who did it. If it's a Trump-connected person, a MAGA person, if it's a Democrat-connected person, whoever. It's a big deal. That's the most important thing. Easily. Why wasn't there an adequate police presence? Who planted the pipe bomb? And why is it that those are the very two issues that Democrats seem least concerned with? They don't give a fuck. All the people I talk to on the left, none of them give a shit about the pipe bomb. None of the people in the January 6th committee gave a shit about the pipe bomb. Why? And why do they not give a shit about Capitol Chief's son, who's the person that was tasked with defending the Capitol, shouting to the heavens like, this was fucked up. We were specifically told that we couldn't get adequate presence from like the National Guard. This came from like Pelosi's team. And no one gives a fuck. I said from the get-go that it looked as what happened was that the Democrats and the intel agencies and the establishment, what they wanted was a riot to get out of control, them to make it into the Capitol so that they would have the excuse to shut Trump down and to go after his supporters. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I've covered many weird things with the pipe bomb. Let's show you a couple clips right out of the gate. Don't believe me about the January 6th committee not giving a shit about the pipe bombs? The head of the January 6th committee is a man by the name of Bennie Thompson. Here we'll see Thomas Massie, who I'm still mad about for other things. Here we're going to see Massie, when he gets a chance to talk to him in an official capacity and ask questions, start to talk about the January 6th pipe bomb. Now, I want you to watch. This is the guy that was in charge of the January 6th committee. Watch how much he seems to give a shit or know about the pipe bomb.
Who is responsible on January 6th? Who was responsible for the health and well-being of the incoming vice president?
Of the incoming?
This would be Senator Kamala Harris at the time. She was under the protection of them.
Well, obviously, Secret Service.
Correct, the Secret Service. So where was she on January 6th while all this was going on over at the Capitol?
I don't know.
Do you know there were pipe bombs allegedly present on January 6th?
I know there were two pipe bombs, one at the Democratic headquarters and one at the Republican.
So you're in charge of the entire investigation of what happened on January 6th and what led up to January 6th, and you don't know that the vice president was in the incoming vice president was in the DNC when that pipe bomb was sitting there. Dude,
I don't, you know, we did not, our investigation was looking at the facts and circumstances. We knew that there were pipe bombs. I'm sure the evidence will say she was wherever she is, but, you know, I'm trying to get to your point.
okay, well, my point is, if this bomb had gone off just a few feet from her, this could have been the worst assassination since JFK. And I looked at your January 6th report, and I mean, can you tell me what you wrote about this pipe bomb and the fact that she was almost blown up that day?
The gentleman,
Not right now.
No, it's in the report in terms of the submission. It's not in the 850-page document.
So you guys did, your committee did investigate the pipe bomb or did not
No,
investigate the pipe bomb?
Well, I'm trying to figure out, we're not a criminal investigation. We are, we were an oversight body looking at the facts and circumstances. We were not a criminal body to see who laid the bomb or anything like that.
Okay.
So there you have the head of the January 6th committee doesn't know the mere basic facts at all and seems completely unconcerned with the most important thing that happened on January 6th. Not only that, an admission in their 800-something page report, they basically don't mention the pipe bomb. They do almost nothing to talk about it. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Clearly, Bennie Thompson's role in the January 6th committee and the committee itself was designed as a political pressure point to discuss how dangerous these MAGA supporters were on January 6th. Why would they not cover that they almost killed the vice president? Like they shoved this police officer. They brought police officers on that were crying, oh my God, we got in mutual combat with them. But they leave out. Oh, and by the way, they tried to kill the vice president. Why? Why would they leave that out? Even for political reasons. And he's like, well, we weren't doing a criminal investigation. No, but you were definitely saying the political ramifications of this sort of event. That was the entire point of the January 6th committee. When you see these things, right? Go back to the Russiagate thing for a minute. The most fascinating character in the entire saga is there's this dude that was connected to people that everyone thought was Western intelligence, but he was a deep fucking Russian spy named Joseph Misfit. And this fucking guy got his tendrils into the Trump campaign. And yet, the very people that screamed about Russia collusion, the Mueller team, the FBI team, the Democrats that screamed about it, no one gives a fuck about this guy. They're just like, Everyone else they care about. They care about trolls in Russia that were putting ads on Pokemon Go and Facebook. That they give a shit about. That they'll criminally charge, knowing that there's zero chance they'll ever be able to extradite him or get a conviction. But they don't give a fuck about the central Russian spy that started it all. Why? Why is that? Why do you think it is? Almost like they know that it's bullshit. When Jim Jordan asks Mueller about it, he gets all fired up. We don't discuss charging decisions. Now we go over to January 6th. The seminal, the biggest, most important thing, someone planted a bomb and apparently tried to kill Congress people, the incoming VP, etc. And they're like, we don't give a fuck about that. Wait, what? Nah, we're not concerned about that. We're concerned about this guy that took the lectern. That's what we're concerned about. What the fuck are you talking about? And again, let's take this from a totally neutral standpoint and say, okay, this may very well have been a Trump supporter that did this. So why wouldn't they be like, what the fuck? You don't think, if they found out that this was a Trump supporter, you don't think for a minute that this would be one of the biggest attacks that Democrats used against Trump for years? One of your supporters on January 6th, you gave a speech, you said the election was stolen, then one of your supporters planted a pipe bomb and tried to take out the incoming VP. You don't think the Democrats would use that as a line of attack? But instead, they're just like, oh, with the pipe bomb. Yeah, I mean, we know it was there, but, it's not really our rule to pontificate about that. Fuck it. We'll go further. So we knew this. I just want to apologize. Tomorrow night's show, it's probably going to be similar to tonight's show. Sorry. Before we get to the Collins, fuck it. Remember when I covered this, also released by Thomas Massie? This is security footage on January 6th. Now, what you're going to see here is this is the moments before, during, and afterwards they discover the pipe bomb outside the DNC headquarters. All right? So this is 1:05. Now, keep in mind, the exact time that they found this was then used to divert actual police from the Capitol to dealing with these explosive devices. Almost as if you intentionally set up to have as little police there as possible at the Capitol. This is exactly what you would do. It just was serendipitous that they found this device at the exact same time that people were going towards the Capitol. Huh. Here we go. Now, you'll see here, this police vehicle and this black vehicle, that's a Secret Service vehicle. Their detail is Kamala Harris, the incoming VP. Now, the alleged pipe bomb is going to be a mere feet to the right off screen. Again, apologies. We're going to cover this again tomorrow night, but I didn't give a fuck. I'm so pissed about it. So you see people, you see this jogger? This jogger would have just passed feet in front of this pipe bomb. We believe this gentleman right here that's walking up to this police car is the person who notices the pipe bomb. Now watch. See how nonchalant? This man just saw a bomb. He's a law enforcement officer who was off duty, and he found the bomb. So imagine you're a cop that's off duty, you're walking by, and you see a suspicious package that you think's a bomb. So you nonchalantly walk past it, and you head up to Secret Service. Hey, what's up? He's talking to the cops. Presumably, I think I just saw a suspicious package or a bomb or something over there. Chatting to the cops. Now, I'll remind you at this point, when he's saying there's some sort of suspicious package, again, this is in an environment where they know that there's a bunch of people that are coming to protest, a bunch of people that are pissed off, and they're on security detail of the incoming VP. Right? So you think they would act with some sense of urgency, even if they're just like, look, it's a suspicious package, let's check it right away. But watch what happens. Now he's going over to talk to Secret Service. Meanwhile, see these pedestrians that are going to be walking feet away from a bomb. So at this point, police and Secret Service have been informed that there's a suspicious package. No movement, watching pedestrians walk in front of it. They're not rushing in to protect Kamala Harris. We're still sitting here. Imagine if this explosive had gone off during this time. They're still sitting there. And we're waiting. There, okay, now here come police. All right, after like a minute of dicking around in the car, look at this. Look at the sense of urgency here. Get out, do a little bullshit in here. I mean, Okay, so they get out. Now we're going to go check this suspicious package. So over they waddle. All right, suspicious package. They send one guy over. Again, no urgency. No one's running in to protect the VP. No one's blocking pedestrians saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. Nothing. All right, maybe they're just incompetent. Now, another pedestrian walks by. I thought that was the cop, but you'll see. At this point, I think that you could see the cop walk back there. So now he would have said, yeah, there's a suspicious package. Now they get the call. So the person running the security, now it's not just the cops there, but it's clearly the call has been put in to the people, to the actual agency, because now the security person who's running the camera starts to turn to look for it. Bam! They zoom right in where the package is supposed to be. Now look! They fucking have this reported in. They know that the suspicious package is right there. Law enforcement's allowing these pedestrians to just fucking chill out there. That's where it'll be. It's under there. Still no sense of urgency. They're just standing there. Here comes more pedestrians. It almost looks to me like they knew this was something that was coming, and so now they're just putting on a show. So they take a picture of it. All right, now they're on the move. They go into the building. It's been minutes. We're 4 minutes since they've been informed. Skip ahead. Even on the day, it seems like the Secret Service and police are like, oh, a pipe bomb. Yeah. How is this possible? Now, all of this information's been known, and I've talked about it. And then we get a breaking story today from Steve Baker over at The Blaze, who himself, I believe, was arrested in the January 6th stuff. But you're going to have to wait for that, because I'm going to need donos. And it's a doozy of a story. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to play a little grifting song. Oh, what do you want to hear? I also have to go to the restroom. That's what's going on. No, screw that. We're just going to give you the chair. Nah, we'll play a song so people do. Oh, how about, I'll be back. Send in those donos. I'll be right back.
We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Land says we're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Let's do this. Yeah, it was power metal. All right. Super chats, then I'm going to show you the article. JP Auto Service, thanks so much, $5. As a libtard told me yesterday that ignorance can be taught, but stupidity is forever. The meaning of the words doesn't matter to them. That's surreal. Loud Fat, $5 says, great job crushing first offender last night. I'm just here for the January 6th rants and the whip song, like the stream. Knack Talk, thank you so much. Gifts 5 memberships. Bear in the Woods, $5 says, sir, we have a situation. All right, let the children through. Yeah, and I covered this a year ago. I was like, what the fuck is happening with this video of the January 6th bomb? On Hipbone, $5. Thank you so much. Heads Up, $10 says, Chairman Chair giving us the cold shoulder, I see. Of course. By the way, nice Scott Steiner there. Little math promo. And GG, $2. Thank you. Keep getting those super chats in. Let's get to the story. Now, that's the circumstantial evidence that we're looking at coming into this. Seems like no one in the January 6th committee, FBI, whatever, gives a fuck about the pipe bomber. There's other shit I could show you his background. For example, the cell phone data allegedly corrupted. in order of the collection. Now, they were able to triangulate cell phone data with all sorts of other people on January 6th, but not this person. And they said, oh, well, the data was corrupted when we requested from the cell phone carriers. To which the cell phone carriers released a statement saying, no. Okay, strange. Then we had the insanely low-res granulated photos and video of the actual person that allegedly placed the bomb. Now they can find everyone else on January 6th. They can't find the people that erected the gallows, and they can't find the January 6th pipe bomber person. Why? Just good luck, I guess? All sorts of other questions surrounding this. So Steve Baker is doing an investigation that's going on for years. And he comes up with the name of a suspect. Now, I want to say first off, this woman is innocent until proven guilty. And the evidence is not, as far as I know, ironclad 100 proof, because it relies on a technology that I'm not quite sure has been used for any convictions. That I don't know. What I do know is this. This is the first suggestion that we've had where there is credible evidence that someone was the actual person who placed these bombs. And why is it coming from an independent reporter as opposed to the FBI? Now, it could be that this guy, Baker's full of shit, and everything I'm about to read you is full of shit, and he gets sued into oblivion. Because if he's wrong, releasing the name of this person and details about them is going to be a big fucking deal. So they better be right, at least in what they're reporting. But surprise, surprise. So I want you to just take that with a grain of salt. However, the same thing could be said of anyone. The FBI could have arrested this person and they're innocent until proven guilty. Would it shock you to know that the suspect is a former Capital City police officer who then went to work with the CIA after this? Now, I want you to think of the implications of this for a second. If this story is true, what this means is someone working for the Capitol Police planted this bomb. Then an off-duty person for the Capitol Police found the bomb, told the police and Secret Service, who stood around doing jack shit for minutes while pedestrians walked by, went over and reported it at the exact same time that it would withdraw resources from the Capitol, which would allow people to get closer to the Capitol, and then there was a riot that occurred, which would then later allow Democrats to say, look how bad MAGA is, go after them, go after Trump, etc. All the while, the most zealot group that was going after January 6ers, the January 6th committee, didn't give a fuck about the pipe bomb and didn't know the bare minimum about it, or at least pretended not to. And the FBI, that had the largest FBI investigation in history going after January 6th people, were unable to find anything out about the pipe bomber for 5 years. That's what happened. If this story is accurate, it is quite possibly the biggest story in the history of our country when it comes to political corruption. That our FBI, and one of the stories that's been used to say it's one of the biggest stories in our country, January 6th, actually allowed the intentional subversion of our country by planting fake bombs in order to smear Donald Trump and his team. And not one left-winger that I've debated is going to give a fuck. They're going to say, it's all bullshit, we don't want to hear it. The same people that screamed about insurrection, they're not going to give a fuck. Let's read this story. Former Capitol Police officer, a forensic match for January 6 pipe bomber, sources say. A computer program that compared the bomb suspect's gait to that of Charlie Kirk produced a 94% match. A forensic analysis of a female former U.S. Capitol Police officer's Gait is a 94 to 98% match to the unique stride of a long-sought January 6 pipe bomb suspect, according to Blaze News investigation confirmed by several intelligence sources. A source close to a congressional investigation of January 6 additionally told Blaze News evidence has emerged recently that pointed towards law enforcement possibly being involved in the planning of the pipe bombs. They were fucking in on it. A software algorithm that analyzes walking parameters, including flexion, knee bend, hip extension, speed, step length, cadence, and variance, rated Charlie Kirk, 31, of Alexandria, Virginia, as a 94% match to the bomb suspect shown on video from the January 5th, 2021. The veteran analyst who ran the analysis for Blaze News said based on visual observations the program could struggle with, he personally pegged the match closer to 98%. Kirkov, who was a Capital City police officer for 4.5 years, left the department in mid-2021 for a security detail at the Central Intelligence Agency, sources told Blaze News. In that job, consider that. By the way, this woman also testified at the very first January 6th trial. Then after this, she sort of wipes her social media and ends up working for the CIA. In that job, she reportedly serves on the dignitary protection teams for officials, including CIA Director John Ratcliffe. Kirchhoff's residence in Alexandria, Virginia, appeared to be under the watch of law enforcement officers on Friday night. Blaze News editor-in-chief Christopher Bedford was pulled over by local police after stopping to observe the home. He was then allowed to leave. So it appears as of last night, law enforcement was around her house. Now, full disclosure, her name was leaked yesterday, so it is possible that law enforcement was surrounding her for more protection things. Perhaps she called and said, I fear that my name's out there and people might come after me. Nonetheless, that's what's being reported. The FBI, which failed to solve the case in nearly 5 years of investigation, but indicated it was closing in after Blaze News brought its investigation and intelligence sources, was feet from the Falls Church address of the pipe bomb suspect days after January 6, according to the Blaze investigation. Former FBI Special Agent Kyle Seraphin realized Friday he was doing surveillance next door to the woman now suspected of being the bomber. Seraphin says, quote, the FBI put us one door away from the pipe bomber within days of January 6, and we were deliberately pulled away for no logical investigative reason. And everything about that tells me they were involved in a cover-up and have been since day one. They were fucking in on it, he said. Seraphin proposed doing a knock and talk at the door of an Air Force civilian employee whose address was tied to a vehicle that picked up the bomb suspect in Falls Church, Virginia on January 5th, 2021. In other words, there was an Air Force employee, a civilian employee, whose address was tied to a vehicle that they suspected the bomber was using. So, they continue, Seraphin's team spent 2 days watching the man, but his request to go face-to-face with the person of interest was denied. The team was pulled off the case the same night. The FBI's like, nah, we're not interested in, this person of interest. Seraphin said he has given the same details publicly since 2021. There's a personal reaction to it, which is the complete vindication of things I've been saying and my recollection of being briefed on this stuff and accurate for years, and I've never changed my tune. The FBI tied a DC Metro Rail Smart Trip card, allegedly used by the pipe bomb suspect, to an Air Force civilian employee, but determined that while the man purchased the card, he did not use it. The suspect allegedly used the card to travel from DC to stop at a Falls Church after planning the pipe bombs. The Air Force civilian employee had purchased the Smart Trip card a year earlier. So, what do we know from this? Well, this guy that they were looking at, his card for the DC Metro was used by the alleged pipe bomber. So, they look into it and he's like, yeah, I bought that card, but I didn't use it. And it just so happens this woman, whose Gait matches 94 to 98% according to them, is the neighbor of the person whose card was used by the pipe bomber. Now, I'm no genius, but if I'm pretty sure that here's a card that was used by the pipe bomber, and it tracks to that house. And that guy's basically like, I bought that card, but I didn't use it. Wouldn't you, I don't know, check around the people in his life that have access to him? You know, like neighbors? Don't you think? Instead, they're pulling FBI agents off of it. Okay, fine. Maybe they had other leads. And where's that led in the past 5 years? The FBI could find every fucking little detail about every blue-haired grandma that peacefully walked in the Capitol. But when it comes to this, well, we don't know. We don't know. We continue. The forensic study arranged by Blaze News revealed that Kirkov is up to a 98% match of the Gait of the pipe bomb suspect. Findings were confirmed by several current intelligence sources who viewed the study results. The source who did comparison said the software rated the match at 94%. He put the figure closer to 96 to 98% match, including a combination of human intelligence and software analysis. Samples of Kirkov's Gait were taken from the January 6 Capitol Police CCTV security video and compared to the unedited video of the hoodie-wearing suspect walking through an alley near C Street to place the alleged pipe bomb around 8:16 p.m. on January 5th. Two other sources familiar with Gait analysis who viewed the video comparison and the software analysis told Blaze News that they concur that the video samples match the Gait of the gray hoodie suspect. So that's her on January 6th, on duty, working the Capitol. They looked at that footage and compared it to the footage of the night before the suspect. So this isn't like, well, they found her months later, a video of her. It's literally 1 day apart. The mystery of the pipe bombs has hung over January 6 for nearly 5 years. The FBI said an unknown subject placed pipe bombs under a park bench at the DNC and the Capitol Hill Club near the Republican RNC building between 7:54 and 8:16 p.m. the night before the riot. Discovery of the devices began between 12:40 and 1:05 p.m., respectively on January 6, drew already depleted police sources away from the Capitol, just as a huge crowd breached the grounds at 12:53. A joint session of Congress convened at 1 p.m. to take up challenges to certify the Electoral College from the 2020 presidential election. Kirkov was a Capitol Police officer from 2018 until mid-2021. She was a member of the department's Civil Disturbance Unit and trained officer in the use of less lethal crowd control weapons that were extensively used on January 6. Blaze News reported Wednesday on Capitol Police surveillance video showing Kirkov and other CDU officers using lethal force on a January 6 crowd using less lethal weapons. In other words, you have a weapon that's less lethal, but if you're shooting at people like from the chest up, they're still considered lethal weapons, which this woman who allegedly planted the pipe bomb was doing. At least 16 members of the early crowd on Capitol's West Plaza were shot above the waistline with kinetic impact projectiles fired from above on the Lower West Terrace. Blaze approached numerous intelligence officials 2 weeks ago with questions about the findings of its investigation, which suggested that Kirkov matched the description and behavior of the suspected bomber based on a distinctive walk, a slight limp, a 5'7" frame, and other factors. Footage of the pipe bomb suspect walking with a backpack on the night of January 5th was compared to the January 6th security video of Kirkov at various places on Capitol ground, and footage of her playing professional soccer in Columbus, Ohio in 2017. The pipe bomb video that the Blaze used in its analysis was not the footage released by the FBI. A video sleuth who embarked on a more than year-long investigation told Blaze News the footage made public by the FBI was manipulated to downsample the frame rate. Although it shows the same scene as the FBI video, the clip used by Blaze News came from another source and is demonstrably clear with much smoother motion. Yes, you heard that right. The FBI, who desperately is asking the public for help, allegedly, to find this pipe bomber, intentionally released grainier footage. Isn't that amazing? Former FBI Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund told Blaze News he's eager to learn the results of the pipe bomb investigation, but he said he had no awareness of the Capitol officers' involvement. I had no knowledge that it was being carried out, nor were they carrying it out with any authorization from the chief's office. I'm unaware of any legitimate reason that any Capitol Police or other law enforcement officer would be involved in the planning of those bombs. The possible solution to the pipe bomb mystery could have far-reaching reverberations. Several officials familiar with the government's investigative efforts said a new work is urgently needed to determine whether there were co-conspirators who aided and abetted the crimes, to learn if federal agencies or employees knew who was involved in the bomb hoax and participated in a nearly 5-year cover-up. The FBI has faced questions over its failure to make meaningful investigative process despite offering $490,000 reward to the ATF, along with the $10,000 reward from the Metropolitan Police Department. Former Director Chris Wray claimed the Bureau conducted an exhaustive investigation. In congressional testimony, Wray said January 6 was an indictment of right-wing domestic violent extremists. He said white supremacy-fueled domestic violent extremism is one of the major threats to the nation. The prospect of a capital city police officer being the perpetrator, if confirmed, could recast the entire story of January 6. It could start to unravel the carefully crafted, zealously defended Democratic narrative that the massive crowd of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol as part of an insurrection to keep Trump in office and deny Biden the presidency. At the same time, the FBI was not solving the pipe bomb mystery. It was carrying out the largest investigation in its history to hunt down thousands of Americans who went to the Capitol after Trump's January 6th speech at the Ellipse. The FBI under Wray worked in concert with the Biden Department of Justice to put hundreds of Trump supporters in prison. The U.S. Secret Service response to discovery of the pipe bomb under a park bench at the Democratic National Committee drew fire from congressional investigators that the Department of Homeland Security Inspector General. Speculation that the Secret Service knew the DNC pipe bomb was a dud began when U.S. Representative Massie released Capitol Police security footage, which I just showed you, showing agents acting nonchalantly after a Capitol Police counter-surveillance officer informed them that he found the pipe bomb in the bushes behind the DNC building. Agents stayed in their SUV eating lunch for 2 minutes before getting out to investigate. They stood feet from the suspected bomb and allowed pedestrians to walk past and vehicles to continue driving within feet of the device. Commuter trains that passed directly next to the DNC building continued to run. 2 weeks ago, Blaze News reported on the year-long investigation of a video sleuth who found evidence he said showed the FBI was misleading the American public about the pipe bombs. A user known as Armitage on social media said the videos released by the FBI had been manipulated to reduce the frame rate. He also provided evidence that the pipe bomber first tried to plant the devices outside the Congressional Black Caucus Institute and a congressional room house on C Street on the evening of January 5th. Shortly after the Blaze News reported on his finding, the FBI released higher quality footage of the pipe bomb suspect. Armitage said he believes the device planted next to the bench and some bushes in the DNC building at 7:54 p.m. January 5th was retrieved at 4:40 a.m. on January 6th and replaced shortly before or nearly simultaneously to discover the bomb at 1:05. The device appears to have been broken by the bomb suspect outside the Congressional Black Caucus on January 5th. Much public discussion in the case dealt with the rare Nike Air Max Speed Turf sneakers the suspect wore, and whether the person was familiar with areas outside the DNC building and the Capitol Hill Club. Armitage said he believes the suspect knew how to take a mini shortcut at the corner of 1st and C Streets and escape through a well-hidden church garden gate after planting the second device behind the Capitol Hill Club. Gait analysis software can get accurate results even if the subject is walking faster than normal speed. It can also recognize Gait on a video shot from a long distance. It does not require the kind of video resolution needed for facial recognition, the analyst said. The bombing suspect's head was covered by a hoodie and a COVID-19 mask on January 5th. The jerky motion seen in the video released by the FBI would normally make the Gait analysis more difficult. The FBI's lack of progress in solving the pipe bomb case drew increased criticism from Republican members of Congress. In a July 23 hearing, Massie grilled Wray about the video Massie unearthed showing the man who apparently discovered the bombs at the DNC building. Blaze later learned that the person was a plainclothes police officer, counter-surveillance officer. Have you interviewed this person, Massie said. We have conducted all logical investigative steps and interviewed all logical individuals at this point, Wray replied. Wray repeatedly stated he would not discuss the details of an active investigation, which prompted a rebuke from Massie. We can handle classified information and we fund your department, and so you need to provide that, Massie said. 900 days ago is when this happened, and you said you had total confidence we'd apprehend the subject, Massie said. We found a video that looks like somebody, a passerby, miraculously found this pipe bomb at the DNC and then notified the police. Miraculously, I say, because it was specifically the same precise time to cause the maximum distraction from the events going on at the Capitol. Wray replied, well, again, I don't want to speculate about specific individuals. I will tell you that we've done thousands of interviews, reviewed something like 40,000 video files, of which this is one, assessed 500-something tips. In May 2024, Massie grilled Stephen Dettelbach, then director of the ATF, for not providing information about the pipe bombs or what the ATF agents did on January 6. Are you willing to confirm the pipe bombs planted at the Capitol Hill Club and the DNC on January 6th couldn't have gone off within the 60-minute kitchen timer if they were placed the day before, Massie asked. Respectfully, Congress, I do believe that this goes into the area of an active investigation, which the ATF is supporting, the FBI leading that investigation, and I cannot comment, Dettelbach said. Dettelbach would not answer which ATF officials was the incident commander for the pipe bombs or whether the devices were planted as some part of training exercise. In an interview with the House Committee on Judiciary on June 7, 2023, the head of the FBI field office said it would be an investigation 101 to interview whoever found the pipe bomb at the DNC. In any investigation, whoever discovers the device is someone you need to talk to, right? Because they could be the one that planted the device in the first place, Steve D'Antonio said. You know, so that's investigative 101. So, but I'm not aware of that video. I'm not aware of that person. 13 months before taking office as FBI director, Kash Patel seemed to raise the possibility the pipe bombs are fakes. If the allegations about the bomb aren't true, Patel said in the Bunny Show, or there was some government ruse, or the FBI rogue source or whatever, I don't know because I don't have the case files, then there's another corruption scandal on an election time narrative. This goes on about Kirkov's a soccer star. We don't need to read that. Now that's a lot to get through, I understand. I'm going to put the link. You can read it yourself. What is starting to look like the most likely scenario is this. Oh, by the way, then we have, to add on top of all this, before I get to it, I've showed you over and over the testimony of Capitol Chief's son. This is the guy who was tasked with protecting the Capitol on January 6th, who both before January 6th and during January 6th repeatedly requested assistance from the National Guard. He had said that the lead up to January 6th was particularly unusual, that there was a lack of sharing intelligence with him, and that there seemed to be less preparation than any other random rally that was going to occur in D.C., despite the fact they knew this rally was going to be huge and was going to be people that were pretty pissed off because of the election. And yet, for some reason, an average rally that you might have about pride or anything else has more intelligence sharing and briefings and preparation for defense of the Capitol. But this one time, for some reason, it was very strange. Yolanda Pittman was the person underneath him that supposedly was coordinated with the FBI that just neglected to tell him that there was sharing of intelligence that said that there was potentially going to be people that came there that was going to try to take out VP Pence and congressmen. He wasn't informed of this. When he tried to give testimony to the January 6th committee and other places, he was all but shirked and told to eat shit. He had to force himself in there, and then it seemed no one gave a shit what he said. He reports that in order to request the National Guard on January 6th, he basically had to go through the Sergeant-at-Arms. Yes, that's right. In order for him to even request the National Guard, he needed to request to be allowed to request. So the first step was getting an okay from one of these Sergeant-at-Arms. The Sergeant-at-Arms, under Nancy Pelosi, told him he had to run it up the chain. He also requested before January 6th from these people. He talked to Sergeant-at-Arms under Nancy Pelosi. He's like, I'm not so sure. Then he talked to the one that was under the Senate. You know what they said? In a dinner afterwards, son talked to this gentleman who's now passed away and said, look, when I came to you and asked to request, it seemed like you already knew what I was going to ask. When you said no, what happened? And he said, oh yeah, the Sergeant-at-Arms under Nancy Pelosi called me and said, yeah, just say no because Pelosi said she's not going to go for it because of the optics. That's official testimony from literally the guy tasked with defending the Capitol, and not one fucking Democrat cares. Now forget that guy. He's a lunatic. Fuck him. He reports that he called time after time after time to Nancy Pelosi, Sergeant-at-Arms. Can I request the National Guard? Can I request the National Guard? Can I request the National Guard? Each time he was told, I have to run it up the chain of command. He says the only chain of command higher than the Sergeant-at-Arms is Nancy Pelosi herself. I forget the name of the guy right now, but the particular Sergeant-at-Arms under Pelosi testified the first time that son called him, he gave him permission. Now someone's lying. That's someone directly lying to the January 6th committee and congressional investigators. And yet the Democrats don't give a shit. Son says, I got the receipts. I have the cell phone records that I called him over and over again. They don't care. Whatever. Would Son think about all this? Here's his statement from an hour ago. Anxiously awaiting a statement from the FBI and DOJ and full disclosure of their investigative efforts into the January 6th and pipe bombs. We've waited for far too long for answers. Now, what do we see in totality? The biggest event that occurred on January 6th, not one fucking Democrat gives a shit about. The January 6th committee didn't really give a shit about. They know almost no details. If the story is as reported, we came a hair's breadth away from the execution of Kamala Harris, the incoming VP. And no one gives a fuck. We have the video that shows that just serendipitously at the exact time to cause maximum confusion, an off-duty police officer happened to find this, tells Secret Service and police, they putz around finishing their lunch for 2 minutes, allow people to walk right across from the pipe bomb once they know that it's there, and then act like, ho-hum, it's just another day at the office. The Capitol chief is sounding the alarm like, what the fuck? Both before January 6th and during it, I repeatedly requested security, and basically the same people that are now bitching, oh my gosh, it was a coup, it was an insurrection, were the ones that were telling me I couldn't have proper people to defend the Capitol. The FBI has the largest manhunt in history in the United States. Biggest FBI task force ever, and they're basically ever to fucking rope every single person in except the January 6th pipe bomber. The footage they're releasing to the public desperately asking for help is intentionally lowered frame rate to make it more possible to see what's going on. When they're asked about it repeatedly, they say, we can't comment, we can't comment, we can't comment. Ongoing investigation 5 years later. Now we have people that are claiming we have matched the Gait resolution or the Gait. We use software to analyze the gait of this person walking, and we think it's this Capital City police officer who apparently promptly leaves working for the Capitol Police and gets a promotion to working with the CIA. And yet still, if I debate a lefty and we're talking about the violence that we see going on a daily basis from left-wingers, what do they say? I'm a January 6th. But none of them will give a fuck about this, will they? They won't care. That's right. The only cell phone data that was corrupted happened to be of that one person that was in a mask. This is why I say the most important thing, for me, the biggest issue in the country is corruption. The reason I voted for Trump in 2006, the reason I voted for him in 2020, and the reason I voted for him in 2024 was two reasons. One, to expose the corruption, and second, to do something about it. All of the momentum that Democrats have is based on these few stories that paint Trump and Trump supporters as these bloodthirsty lunatics. And in both stories, the Russiagate and January 6th, it appears that the circumstantial evidence overwhelmingly is that this wasn't Trump and his team and his supporters. It was the very institutions that he was going after. Why, though? Why would they do this? Trump wins the election in 2016. One of the things he starts doing is criticizing our intel agencies, our military-industrial complex. Some of the shit he's saying I don't agree with, by the way. He'll be saying shit like this, like, well, if we're going to go over to that country, we might as well keep their oil. It's like, But he's criticizing them heavily for foreign policy blunders. His chief opposition at this time is this guy, Chuck Schumer. This is the head of the Democratic Party in the Senate. So after Trump wins the election, but before he's sworn in, Schumer sits down with Rachel Maddow, and they're discussing sort of Trump putting out tweets that's jabbing at the intel agencies. Here's what Chuck Schumer said.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know,
to?
but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them. And we need the intelligence community. We don't know what's going on. Look at the Russian hacking. Without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have discovered it.
Do you think he has an agenda to try to dismantle parts of the intelligence community? I mean, this form of taunting hostility.
Whether you're a super liberal Democrat or a very conservative Republican, you should be against dismantling the intelligence community.
There you have it, folks, straight from the fucking horse's mouth. Before Trump was even sworn in, he can't criticize the intel agencies. That's stupid. They'll fuck him over. And I've been told they're real mad at Trump for criticizing him. Oh! But no one gives a fuck. The left didn't care. Now we see FBI and agents talking about an insurance policy to stop Trump. James Comey, the FBI, head of the FBI, clearly hated fucking Donald Trump. They got illegal FISA warrants to spy on Donald Trump's team. Oh well, oh well, oh well. Trust the FBI, trust the FBI, trust the FBI. When the fucking leader of the Democrats is telling you this is what they're going to do. Now, I don't know 100%. I can't say. I'm just reporting on Steve Baker from the Blades and what he's saying about this woman specifically. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you that I know about Gait technology to look at people's Gait. It makes sense that this would be something that's possible, though, with forensic analysis. I mean, everybody does walk in a unique way. Will this be enough to prosecute this woman? Probably not. Is it enough to heavily investigate? See where she was that night? Check her records, her phone records, her emails and shit? I would suggest so. Has that already occurred? Look at this fucking genius. Are you actually spinning this to fit the narrative? Where in that did you hear, this is what we're going to do? What I heard was that they will find a way to fuck Trump over. That's what he said. Let's listen again. You dumb shit.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
Oh, so him criticizing, and then he goes on to say they're real pissed at Trump. Then we see they illegally spied on Trump's team. That's beyond dispute. And a litany of other things we could see. And you're like, oh, you're really going to spin that to fit your son? It's just all luck. It's just all bad happenstance that they were super pissed. And Chuck Schumer even admitted it, and that they were going to find 6 ways of Sunday getting back at him. And then they illegally spied on him and all this other shit. Oh, you're going to spin that? Oh, come on. Laugh at these fucking people like Uncle Fatty there. Laugh at them. Absolute fucking dog shit morons. The truth is, people like this, they know the truth. They know that the FBI hated Trump. They know it. It's common sense, dipshit. Right. It's common sense that if you criticize the FBI, they'll come at you. Yep. There you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth. We know the FBI legally spied on Trump. He's like, well, of course, it's common sense that if you criticize the FBI, they're going to attack you. That's common sense. And then they end up illegally spying on your campaign. Common sense. That's common sense that shit happens. You can't, when you're the boss, when you're the leader of the FBI, and you're in charge of them, you can't criticize them. That's common sense that they'll fuck you over. But are you going to spin this to show that, Rob? You fucking idiot. Now, here's the truth. People like Uncle Fatty here, they like this system. That's the truth. They're happy that the FBI is out to get Donald Trump. They think that Trump's an existential fucking threat. That's the truth. So like, yes, we're happy that the FBI illegally spied on Trump. We're happy. We're happy when Chuck Schumer said exactly what we all knew. He just said the quiet part out loud. Presidents can't criticize the FBI because the FBI will fuck them over. They're going to come at him. We like that system. And we will criticize people that point out how fucked up that is. We'll say, oh, you're going to spin this? Because they don't give a shit. They don't care. They're absolutely fine with the current system. Imagine if Trump's FBI legally spies, gets FISA warrants to legally spy on his opponent. Biggest story in the fucking history of the country for the Democrats. Happened to Trump and not one of them give a fuck. Oh, well, mistake. Anyways, moving on. But we have FBI agents that talked about an insurance policy stopping Trump. Oh, well. We had Chuck Schumer admitting that the FBI was really pissed at Trump for criticizing him, and they were going to find a way to get back at him. Yeah, common sense. No big deal. You're not going to spin that for your narrative, are you? It's really quite simple. Orange man bad. That's it. Want to know why?
Why is he breaking my sign? Why is he breaking my sign? Don't have free speech rights? Don't have free speech rights is all of you? Oh, look, there's such a... He's got a weapon! He's got a weapon! He's got a weapon!
Why are you doing this to me? Because you're awful. That's why. That right here sums up everything that you're seeing. This sums it all up. Why is the left okay with this? Why do they not give a fuck about any of this pipe bomb stuff? Why do they not give a fuck that it was all but announced? The FBI, you can't criticize the FBI, and then they illegally spied on Trump of all that shit. Why? This is why. Watch.
Why is he breaking my sign? Why is he breaking my sign? Don't have free speech rights? Don't have free speech rights is all...
Because you're an asshole, because you're awful. Then they scream, he's got a weapon. That's why. They think you're a piece of shit, so everything is justified against you. They'll shoot you in the fucking neck. Then they'll make fun of your wife for grieving. That's who these motherfuckers are. You think the same people that celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk would give a fuck if the FBI was illegally going after Trump? If they planted a fucking pipe bomb in order to go after Trump and his supporters, you think they'd give a fuck? Oh, no, they would stop there. Surely. They're just about celebrating, the murder of a guy like Charlie Kirk, I'm going to tell you right now, if it turns out that this story is 100% accurate, and if we find out, listen, this lady actually was working with the FBI, was working with people in the sort of administration in order to smear Trump and his supporters, I'm going to tell you right now, at least 50% of Democrats will be like, I don't give a shit. Good. That's great. Sounds good to me. They would not give a fuck. Great. I'm glad they found an excuse to go after Trump supporters. Sounds good to me. Because Trump's bad. He's like that Austrian painter guy, The same people that would say there's no deep state, there's no corruption. See? Your assumptions of my political views are not even close, but I can't blame you for being emotionally judgmental cult member. Let me guess, Ray Epps was also fed. You see? This is a guy in the chat that admitted, of course, it's common sense that if the leader of the FBI criticizes the FBI, they'll come at him. And he well knows, yes, the FBI legally spied on Trump's team. But he's like, I don't know how you could bring out the point. It's common sense that they were going to do shit like that. That they were going to come after Trump if he criticized. That's common sense. How could you try to connect those two and spin a narrative? It's ridiculous. Does not give a shit. And I know. Like, here's the next line. Actually, I'm a centrist. I'm not a Democrat. I don't really have a political affiliation. Yeah, what are you talking about that I'm a Democrat? There you go. It's the same NPC fucking talking point again and again and again and again and again and again and again. How dare you assume my political takes? That's not it at all. I'm merely saying that it's common sense that the leader of the FBI can't criticize the FBI or they'll find a way to fuck him over. That's all I'm saying. Yes, they illegally spied on Trump and shit. And this is what he'd say if he calls in. I know it. Dead to rights. I know what he'd say. Yeah, that was a big deal. But what are we supposed to do now? They dealt with it and we've moved on. So what are we supposed to do now? But anyways, like, what's any of this have to do with anything? Or he's a right-winger that's against Trump. Doesn't matter. Oh, who raided? Thank you for whoever raided. Our good friend Teriak. How you doing, man? Yeah. That's exactly it. At this point, what difference does it make? That's how these people feel. And by the way, this happens over and over. The Russia collusion shit. We were told for 4 years, Russia collusion, at least 3 years. Russia collusion was the biggest story in this country. Every fucking night, MSNBC covered it. The media was giving themselves Pulitzer Prizes. The New York Times, the Washington Post, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. Even Fox News and shit, all of them nonstop covering Russia collusion, Russia collusion, Russia collusion. Then when we find out it's all bullshit, actually it was Hillary's team that was colluding with the suspected Russian spy. It's a long time ago. Who needs it? Who do you think's the best person I debate that's on the left? What do you think? Destiny? Probably. I debated Destiny on subjects like corruption for 4 fucking years. Corinth rarely debates me. Corinth's actually a fucking good lefty. I debate Destiny over and over again on these subjects. In the last debate I had with Destiny 2 months ago, in the final 10 minutes of the debate, he concedes, of course, the FBI investigation into Trump was corrupt. He concedes. And he acts like that's always been his position. I believe this is the correct timestamp. This is 3 hours into the debate. You ready? There were leaks from the intel agency saying they'd already formed a consensus. Destiny laughably claims that on December 8th, they hadn't done enough research to reach a consensus, so that's why they didn't say that the motivation was to help Trump win. But on December 9th, magically, within hours, they had reached a total consensus and knew that that was now the case. That's what I'm saying that Obama is connecting. And the last argument I made was, even if Obama didn't directly order this, the fact that it occurred... All right. No, wait. I got to go up more. Okay, last thing. So the last thing.
Wait, hold on, Rob. You understand that I'm saying that it shouldn't have been used for the Carter Page thing. You're saying no, that should have been used, and everything should be investigated. No, you're the one saying. Are you saying that? You're saying that all of it should have been treated equally. I agree. The equal treatment is nothing. That's what Durham is saying. You're apparently saying the equal treatment is every single thing should be investigated, no matter who's alleging it, or no matter what the credibility of it is.
No, I'm saying there was unequal treatment, and you're agreeing.
Yes, that's what the Durham Report literally says. Okay, I've never said anything different.
So let's go back to that.
Thank you for conceding that. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
That's been my argument the entire time. You're right.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, I know. You like to retroactively hijack. Yes,
the FBI that has bias that we can see from all these agents, as you just admitted, engaged in a two-tier system.
Yes, as you've conceded, that is what the Durham Report says, as I've now explained to you. Yes.
That's lawfare. I win the debate.
How is that lawfare? There's none of you can't prove that any of this happened at the direction of Obama.
It doesn't. So if you would go back to my opening statement, we said the following: lawfare would include things that were investigations and shit like that, that with the purpose of eventually having positive. So now that's Destiny conceding there and acting like it was me that conceding, that his position from the get-go has been, yes, the FBI engaged in a two-tier system to get Trump. That's what he just admitted. And he made it seem like I was conceding to him. Do you understand how fucked up that is? How insane? Do you understand how this is the model that each and every one of these Democrats do? This is the biggest thing in the world. And how dare you say that the FBI is engaged in a two-tier system? How dare you? That's outrageous. That's fucking outrageous. Now it's 4 years later. Yeah, of course that's what happened. I've said it from the get-go, and now you're conceding to me. Now his argument's like, well, we don't know if Obama ordered it. Who gives a fuck? I've said from the get-go, my concern's not Hillary Clinton or Obama or Joe Biden. My concern is the fucking FBI. Maybe they were ordered by Obama. Maybe they weren't. But you just conceded. You're like, yep, the FBI engaged in a two-tier system to target Donald Trump and use corrupt measures to do it. Yeah, that's what I've always said. And he does not give a shit. Why would he? It's the same guy. Appeal to emotion much. Uncle Fatty, I'll tell you what. Why don't you call in? I hope this is the same Fatty I wreck every fucking time I debate him. My guess is it is. Why don't you call in, Uncle Fatty? Using emotion to make an appeal to a logical claim isn't an appeal to emotion. I'm using logic. I pointed out exactly what he said. I'm doing so in a way that I'm showing my emotion. Something that you're incapable of doing, you fucking loser. All you're capable of doing is spurging out and going, if you're the fucking idiot I've debated whose name is Fatty in the past. All you use is debate tactics. That's what you use while we're debating. You use debate tactics to beat me in a debate. And yes, I concede I lost the debate because you used debate tactics. I concede that. That's this guy, Uncle Fatty. Oh, he's a tomato simp. Calling in, Uncle Fatty? Or are you another one of those guys that, I don't have the time. I don't have the time or the ability to call in. Right? He ain't calling in. You fucking know it. You know he's a little bitch. In addition to not being able to win an argument, he's also a coward bitch. A little baby bitch. Oh, Mr. Fatty. Right? Oh, you gone? Oh, no. Oh, no. Fatty. Well, there's an answer for that, too. See you later, Uncle Coward. I didn't know if that was the same Fatty that I'd talked to before. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. And then we'll get to a couple calls. They totally concede now. Yeah, the FBI's corrupt and, Oh, JS, thanks for the raid, man. JS Urban Adventures. I saw your message. I'll reach out to you. To answer without reaching out to you, of course, JS. Any interview or whatever in DebateCon's perfectly reasonable for me. No problem at all. So what we're talking about is now it appears that the FBI was covering up for the fact that it appears as if the January 6th pipe bomber, the best evidence now strongly suggests that it was actually a Capital City police officer who then went to work for the CIA. She was promoted. Do I see any holes in the story? Could they be wrong? Of course they could be wrong. Any holes in the story? Yeah, they're claiming I don't know in this fact that I can't analyze Gait software. So I don't know. I'm assuming that what you'll see is people say this software is unreliable and it's only 94 to 98% likely. And so therefore that's not enough proof to convict this woman. Totally true. Should be enough proof to get warrants to investigate her. All right. We got some callers. Now I'm ranting and raving and yelling, and I basically just this was going to be my Sunday show. But, what can I say? I made it the Monday show, or Saturday show, I'm sorry. I'll put the link out one more time to the call-in. We'll probably go till about 12:30, 12:45. So, I don't know how many calls I'll be able to get to. There's a solid chance I won't be able to get to everyone that calls in. But we have 2 on the line right now. We need to get to at least 75% of the dono goal today. I love streaming, and I love these weekend streams, but I also love my family. And so I need a little incentive. No, Fatty ain't calling in. You knew the results of that. You knew what that would be. Super chats real quick, then we'll get to the callers. GG, thanks for the $2. Bale Factor, $3 says, wow, that whip song kicked ass. Thank you. Loud Fat, $10 says, pretty sure placing the pipe bomb wasn't just to smear Trump. The bomb was what canceled the House proceedings. It was like 3 minutes to spare. They changed the rules to allow the steal the next day. Not only that, but it seems like that my theory is this, and I think that the circumstantial evidence largely points to this, that the Democrats and their allies in places like the FBI, the intent was this, to rile people up to the point where they would get rowdy. So it's easy to do. All you need is a couple officers shooting tear gas, pepper balls, etc., shoving people a little, 1 or 2 agitators in the crowd, and there may have been more, that are spurring people up, and then having a lack of police presence. So the fact that the National Guard wasn't allowed there, the fact that there wasn't adequate coordination with the guy that was charged with defending the Capitol, and then you have this pipe bomber that further diverts resources from there, meant that there was a criminally low police presence there. So all it would take is a little spark to get people agitated and move towards the Capitol. What they wanted was the optics of Trump supporters, after Trump gave a speech, getting into the Capitol. And then remember when Pelosi said on video, this is what we've been waiting for. That's exactly what they wanted, because once they had that, they knew they had Trump by the balls. Shut your fucking mouth about the election being stolen. Shut the fuck up. Mitch McConnell and company, I know, talked to Trump and was like, listen, man, we're going to impeach you. We're not going to defend you. It's time to go. So Trump goes out like a bitch, like this bitch right here. Oh, it was a different bitch. I'm so sorry to the fatty I've talked to before. It's a different bitch named Uncle Fatty. How you doing?
Pretty all right. Should lay off the caffeine, bro. You're going to have a heart attack.
I think I'm doing great with the caffeine. Lay off the cigarette. It looks like you're already emaciated.
Sure.
Oh, got it. Now, I think we've talked before and you were a total fucking idiot. I thought you were this other fatty I've talked to. To that fatty, I say, I am so sorry. But you understand, 2 people named Fatty. By the way, that guy probably is an uncle as well. You were the guy. Wait a minute. If I remember, wow, we had some crazy fucking conversation where you were all over the place and didn't know shit. You remember that?
Sure, yeah. It's a good take. It's a good take on that.
How'd you think you did in that conversation?
I think I did fine.
I'm sure you do. So now you're over here and your take is that it is, let's start with this. It was an emotional.
Tell me what I think. Please.
Okay. You said that me correctly pointing out that Destiny is now saying that, of course, I believe the Durham Report that there was a 2-tiered system that the FBI was going after Donald Trump is, quote, an appeal to emotion.
No, your emotional outtake after that was the appeal to emotion.
Okay, explain what an appeal to emotion means.
You want to go to semantics?
Yes. I just, because what you're doing is, do you deny what I said, that Destiny acknowledged that?
I'm just saying that you're an emotional bitch, bro. That's all I'm saying.
I understand that's what you think.
Very emotional, very, engaged.
Well,
That's cool.
It would be better to be emotional, to be someone that no one gives a shit about like you.
Sure.
Who's basically, not only do you not have an emotion, nor have any ability for anyone to be interested in what you say, you're also a fucking idiot. Which means that people wouldn't be interested in what you have to say. What does me being bombastic or emotional have to do with the facts of what I said? Do you agree with the facts of what I said?
Well, I mean, it would be one thing if you were actually like spitting facts.
Was I?
No.
Okay, so where was I incorrect when I said that Destiny conceded that the FBI engaged
Actually,
in a
you
two-tier
conceded to
system?
him.
I conceded to Destiny. Okay,
Yeah,
and
it's right there. Yeah.
how did I explain what I conceded that Destiny believes?
From the amount of clip that you showed, that's what I saw.
Okay, what was it that I conceded? You're saying from that clip. So you saw the clip, you've made a decision that I conceded to Destiny. What was my concession that I made to Destiny?
That the FBI is bad.
Okay, so you think that I was saying the FBI is good and Destiny was saying the FBI is bad, and then Destiny convinced me to concede that the FBI is bad. That's your argument?
Somewhat.
I mean, do you realize what a fucking idiot you sound like here?
Sure. Yeah. No, I can understand your point of view. I can understand.
What are you talking about? You're sitting here trying to gaslight us that Destiny, who has defended the FBI and the Democrats for years and hates Donald Trump, that in actuality it was the opposite. And me, who spent 5 years talking about how corrupt the FBI was when it came to the Russiagate investigation, right? That actually it's reversed. That I was the one for 5 years that was defending the FBI, and Destiny was the one saying they were corrupt. And he finally got me to concede that in a debate where I was arguing for the affirmative that Obama had worked with the FBI to corruptly go after Trump. But somehow that was me conceding to Destiny. That's your argument. I can understand why you were hesitant to call in.
From the amount of the clip that you showed, yes.
Use your context clues. Do you think that Destiny is someone
I don't know.
defending?
I don't know.
You
You're
don't
fucking
know.
history, bro.
Then
I don't
why
know.
are you
about
opining on it? Why are you fucking in the chat opining about it? Why are you saying that I'm not using logic or facts?
Well, you're definitely not using facts, and your logic is definitely broken.
What do you mean I'm not using facts? I said that Destiny conceded that the FBI was corrupt and had a two-tiered system.
Sure,
Your only
but
argument
that's
is
based on your narrative.
Your only argument is, nuh-uh, Destiny already believed that, and you're now conceding to him. Let's assume that's true, despite all fucking evidence. Let's assume that's true.
That's the problem with your fucking right-wing mind, bro. Is you're so into this conspiracy shit that it's like, you have to make up the narrative and then drive it, and then that's the only narrative that you can accept.
What the fuck are you talking about? Let's assume that you're right for the sake of it. Okay,
You have no fucking clue what I think. Okay?
Destiny was, yes, you told me what you think. You tell me if I'm wrong. That Destiny was the one that was critical of the FBI and thought it was corrupt, and I conceded to him. That's what you think, correct?
Off of that clip, yeah.
Okay, so then what do you mean I have no clue what you think? I clearly was right.
So that means that you know everything that I've ever thought in my life.
Where did I say that? Where did I say I know everything?
Exactly, right? Because it's false dichotomy.
What the fuck does that mean? Anything? So you, for example, said that I appeal to emotion. You think that I'm a person who's an emotional bitch, right?
I said appeal to emotion much? Because you're fucking literally
you said that
out.
How do you know? Do you know everything I've thought in life?
I'm going upon your actions, bro.
Right.
You're literally
wait. You don't know everything. You don't know everything. You don't know everything I've done in life. So how could you make any sort of claim? Now, intuitively, you know the answer is no. What I'm claiming is on this specific thing. On this specific thing that you're talking about, I can make a judgment.
Microphone.
That's what you're saying. You're saying on this particular thing right here, I can make a judgment without knowing everything you've said in your life, which is exactly what I'm saying to you. On this particular topic about the corruption of the FBI, I know because you just told me that your belief is that Destiny's always thought the FBI was corrupt and I conceded to it. And you say, well, how would you know everything that I've ever thought in life? I'm not claiming to know everything you've thought in life. What I'm claiming is to know what you think about this specific issue, which is what we're talking about. Understand?
And you're claiming that I believe, right, that Destiny was correct.
I'm claiming that you believe that Destiny thought the FBI was corrupt and that I conceded. I didn't think and I conceded that the FBI is corrupt. Because that's what you told me.
That's what I got from the clip.
Okay. Okay, fine. So then I'll go for it. It doesn't matter. That's not me claiming I know everything about your life. That's me claiming on this issue what you told me. Let's assume for the second, despite all fucking evidence to the contrary, let's assume that was true. Nonetheless, what's it matter? Now we both believe that the FBI was corrupt.
So there's some common ground there. Good.
Right.
That's a good place to be.
So if you were watching me, you can see I said, the context of this was, who is the biggest person I debated on the left? The person that's their champion that talks about this? That's Destiny. Now Destiny, regardless
Destiny
if he
ain't my fucking champion, bro.
Are you on the left?
Sure as fucking the champion of a lot of fucking lefties, and I'm not even a fucking lefty. So
then what the fuck are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about? You're saying that this motherfucker represents all the left?
I'm saying he represents
I'm
saying he represents a huge portion of what the left is, and it's probably the biggest person that I've talked to as such that has the biggest amount of influence. And it's probably, according to my audience, the best person I debated. I assure you, you're not in the top fucking 75%, right? Nonetheless, now that this guy's admitting that the FBI is corrupt, you don't think that's an issue? You're just like, who cares? The FBI is corrupt.
I'm not saying who fucking cares. No, I think that.
Then what? So, do you think the FBI was corrupt in going after Trump?
Partially, I think there was a little bit of corruptness there. Yeah, but do I believe that Barack Obama ordered the fucking DOJ to go after his political opponents?
I don't know. Do you?
No.
Okay. So then, nonetheless, as I just got done saying, I'm less concerned whether Barack Obama ordered it. Now you, me, and Destiny all think the FBI was corrupt in going after Trump. And your comments on this, when I'm calling it out, is, but you're emotional. And you conceded to Destiny, not saying, oh my God, the FBI, the most powerful intel and law enforcement agency in the United States, is corruptly going after Donald Trump. You don't give a shit about that. Your point's like, but you're emotional.
Corruptly going after Donald Trump is the narrative, though, that you're spinning.
You just said you agree.
Partially, yeah.
Okay, what part of it's not true? Explain.
Going after a fucking criminal is not illegal.
You said they did so corruptly.
I think there was some corruptness there, yes.
Okay, explain the
going
corruptness.
Going after a man who has obviously broken the fucking law.
Have you broken the law?
Who was hiding documents in his fucking shitter, okay?
When did he do that in 2016 when the FBI started investigating him?
That was before that.
Okay.
Sure.
So when you admit that it was corrupt.
Oh, sure. So they weren't investigating his fraud shit in New York at that point in time?
No! The allegations, in fact, is that occurred afterwards, his payment to Stormy Daniels. Is your argument, do you know so little that you think that Russiagate and Crossfire Hurricane was about payments to Stormy Daniels?
Again, if you'd have played more of the clip, it would have been nice.
What the fuck does it matter?
Context, bro. Context.
You're the one saying that the FBI...
You played fucking 40 seconds of a fucking clip that was obviously a 10-minute fucking conversation.
No, it was a 3-hour conversation.
It was 10 minutes out of a 3-hour conversation.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. Your argument is that you had never made any conclusion about whether or not the FBI was corrupt in its investigation into Trump until I played that clip.
Sure.
You see what I mean? You see how fucking stupid you are? You see this?
Sure.
So it doesn't matter. You formed your conclusion on whether or not the FBI was corrupt before you saw that clip. So when I'm asking you, how were they corrupt? And you're like, well, the parts that weren't corrupt was they were investigating a criminal. And I say, in what way were they investigating a criminal? He held documents. Yeah, that was 2020. That's 4 years later. Well, what about the payments to Stormy Daniels? Yes, that wasn't what they were investigating in 2016. And your response to all this is, well, you only played a 10-second clip. But that 10-second clip's irrelevant to you forming your conclusion, saying that it was okay to investigate Trump because of Stormy Daniels and because of the document shit that didn't happen until years later. So how did you form this conclusion that Trump was a criminal in 2016?
Everybody's known that the man's been a criminal his whole fucking life, dude.
I think you're a criminal.
Okay.
Are you a criminal?
Sure.
Okay, so then it would be no problem. You would be perfectly fine if the FBI spies on you and says, everybody knows you're a criminal. You admitted it. So it doesn't matter if the FBI spies on you illegally, right? Because after all, you're a criminal.
We're all subject to the Patriot Act, my friend.
Oh, I got it. So totally reasonable.
No, not reasonable at all.
Okay, then go fuck yourself. What are you even saying?
Why would I think that it's reasonable?
Your argument is that it's not that corrupt for them to go after Donald Trump because you just assume that he's a criminal. So therefore, fuck it. We assume he was a criminal. I say you could say that about literally anyone in the country, including you. You're like, well, the Patriot Act.
Is the Patriot Act part of why, the FBI would be illegally spying on every fucking American?
I don't like the Patriot Act. I think that obviously.
So we agree upon that.
What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with FISA warrants, which the Patriot Act doesn't give them the right to do, to be able to spy or to open investigations, criminal investigations? That's not what the Patriot Act does. They spied on the
Never said
person
it
that was running for president. They got illegal surveillance warrants against them using FISA warrants in the FISA court. And your response to this is,
And
well,
what was
it's partially corrupt. And I'm like, what part of it's not corrupt? And you're like, I assume he was a criminal.
What was their probable cause for opening these investigations?
You tell me. You're the one talking about whether or not it's corrupt or not.
Russian contact, right? Having Russian affairs, having business assets and friends in high places in the Russian oligarchy.
Can you name me one person in Hollywood in DC that's either a politician at the main level or a prominent businessman that doesn't have high contacts with people in countries all across the world?
How about AOC? I don't think
I'm sure AOC.
I absolutely friends that are Russian
I
oligarchs,
absolutely
bro.
guarantee that AOC has talked to people that are involved in Russia.
Does she have business contacts? Does she have?
What does that mean? So your argument
does she
is
have conflicts of interest with Russian oligarchs?
I just want to be clear.
Properties in Florida.
I just want to be clear. Your argument is any businessman that's done business with Russia ought to. It's perfectly reasonable if there's FISA warrants to spy on them because they have contacts with Russia. That's your argument.
No, bro, it's not.
Okay, so then what does any of this have to do? You're like, well, you know, they were looking at Trump because he had prominent business contacts with people in Russia. Okay, that's not a reason to open an FBI investigation.
Normal vetting process we go through, right?
No.
To make sure our politicians aren't fucking corrupt.
Did the FBI investigate Hillary Clinton for contacts to Russia?
I would imagine they did.
They did not.
I would imagine they did.
They did not.
Just because we didn't
show me the
hear
investigation. We have the investigation into
Again,
Trump's
I'm
team.
imagining.
We have an investigation into Trump's team called Crossfire Hurricane. We know all about it. Is your argument that now we're 8 years beyond that no one in the FBI ever uttered the words, by the way, we did the same thing to Hillary? It just slipped their mind for 8 years. They never mentioned it.
Maybe there was no there.
Was there a there with Trump?
There was obviously a there.
What was the there?
How about fucking business contacts that are fucking Russian oligarchs that bought his fucking properties in fucking Florida?
Okay, if that's
how about him
there,
having fucking money in the Deutsche Bank?
If that's a there, how about Bill Clinton meeting with Vladimir Putin in person, and then within months, Hillary Clinton's team signing off on the Uranium One deal that gave 20% of uranium to Russia, uranium rights, and Bill Clinton then within weeks of talking to Vladimir Putin getting paid $500,000 by a Russian state-owned bank to give a speech. Yeah. That sounds like a there.
Yeah, with yeah, that was pretty fucking corrupt. That was pretty,
okay. So where's the Crossfire Hurricane against Hillary's team? Huh?
Who knows?
Weird,
bro?
huh? It's almost like when you say
it's almost like we don't know what the fucking FBI is doing, right?
No. It's almost like we do know. We can see exactly what happened, which is the Durham Report that me and Destiny were both referencing that admitted that there was a double standard. It was a corrupt, which you've already admitted. You're just equivocating. You're saying you're equivocating, and you're saying, well, the parts of it that weren't corrupt is I personally believe that Donald Trump's a criminal and he had business ties to Russia, so it was partially not corrupt. And when I'm like, but wait a minute, we could say that about a bunch of other people, including his opponent Hillary Clinton, who had more direct ties to Russia, and you're like, well, maybe they did investigate her. We don't know.
Do we know everything the FBI does?
No. And so then you could say...
Exactly, right? No, we don't.
I don't know what to say. So now your argument is, when you're admitting that this was corrupt, when we see that there were illegal FISA warrants, when the person that we're talking about in the clip, Destiny, admits that it's corrupt, you're like, yeah, but we don't know everything the FBI does, so we can't say when things are corrupt. That's your argument now.
No, it's not.
Okay, so why would you be against the Patriot Act? Do you know everything the FBI does with the Patriot Act?
Definitely. I don't think the American citizens know half the shit.
But that's right. So then you can't take a stance on the Patriot Act, correct? Because you don't know everything the FBI is doing.
I think it's bad. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
What about it?
How could you do that? Wait, how could you think it's bad if you're admitting you don't know everything the FBI does with it?
Because the parts I do know, I think are bad.
Oh, so you mean the parts I do know about the corrupt investigation into Donald Trump that I'm criticizing, and you say, but how could you criticize that because we don't know everything the FBI does? In the same way that you're saying that we could criticize the Patriot Act.
Your ability to form these false dichotomies is fucking brilliant, bro.
What's the false dichotomy?
The one choice or the other. Right? There's no middle ground with you motherfuckers. It's
What are you
this,
talking
it's
about?
this extreme, or it's this extreme.
No, that's
and
called-
that's the only fucking choice that you get.
What you're doing is you're being held to how logically what you're saying doesn't make sense. How if we take your
Because
interpretation,
logical fallacy says that false dichotomy is not a fucking real argument, bro.
you're
You can't
using
just
it. You're
fucking
using a
false
non
dichotomy.
sequitur.
You either believe this or you either believe this, and that's the only fucking possibility.
You're engaging in a non sequitur. On one hand, you're saying with Trump, we can't speak to whether or not the FBI engaged in a double standard because possibly they did the same thing to other people, and we don't know and we'll never know. So therefore, we can't make that judgment. But when you
We'll
want to
never
make
know.
judgments,
We'll
let
never
me
know
finish.
everything
Let
that
me
they do,
finish.
Rob. We'll
But
never
when you
know.
want to
You'll
make
never know
judgments,
everything they do.
when you want to make
But what
judgments
we
on the
do know
FBI, when you
is
want to
fucking corrupt. Yes, I
when
I
you
agree.
want to make judgments about the
We've
FBI,
already agreed upon this, and you're still fucking going.
so you agree the FBI was corrupt.
Yes, always.
Okay, so the FBI was corrupt and engaged in a two-tier system against Donald Trump.
No shit, Sherlock.
You said partially corrupt before, which is why we're having this discussion. Now you're admitting that they were just corrupt.
Partially, yeah.
What does partially mean?
I think they were justified in fucking looking into his business affairs and his contacts.
Do you see the stupidity of this? So you say that it was corrupt, but partially. And the reason I hyper-focus on this is because I know down the line what would happen would be you'd say, yeah, but the corruption's not that big of a deal. Now, this is exactly what I was... Yes, you just said...
It is a big deal. So don't assume that I'm going to just fucking blow it off, dumb fuck. Holy fuck, dude. It's your false dichotomy shit is fucking it's fucking brilliant, bro. I got to say.
So it was corrupt, but it was justified.
Part of it, yeah.
What part of it? You just...
It's not all or nothing, motherfucker. It's not all or nothing.
What part of the corrupt... Tell me what was corrupt about it, and then tell me why it was justified.
So why would I say that something's justified if it's corrupt?
You just said it was corrupt.
There's two different things, dude. You can't even fucking see it.
Okay, 1 second.
You know, there's more than just two options, typically in my fray.
Okay.
Real argument, bro.
You're using a non-sequitur. You're engaging in it, so therefore we can't make that judgment. What?
Corrupt, yes.
When
I
you
agree.
want to make judgments about...
Yes, on this, and you're still fucking going.
So you agree the FBI was corrupt?
Yes, always.
Okay, so the FBI was corrupt and engaged in a two-tier system against Donald Trump.
No shit, Sherlock.
You said partially corrupt before, which is why we're having this discussion. Now you're admitting that they were just corrupt.
Partially, yeah.
What does partially mean?
I think they were justified in fucking looking into his business affairs and his contacts.
Do you see that?
But that doesn't mean that I don't think they were justified in the spots where they weren't. So I just completed the whole fucking thing, right? Because I agree upon one thing. Dude, you're fucking nuts, dude.
Okay, they were partially corrupt, but they were justified in looking into him.
Partially, yeah. Partially
Okay,
justified,
so what parts
partially
were
not.
corrupt? What parts were corrupt?
How about looking into the fucking...
Just admit it, man. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You know,
just admit it.
How about
Are you
this?
a troll, or are you just this fucking stupid? Which is it? Or is that a false dichotomy? You're part troll and part fucking idiot. That's the truth.
I'd say it's part ad hom, part just fucking dumb fuckery. But
tell me then, if you like for real, then I want you to tell me what parts of it you think are corrupt. You don't know. Admit you don't know. Just admit it. I don't know. All right, man. Hey, thanks for calling in, man.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. We'll see you.
Hey.
Another troll from the Panelverse. I'm going to the restroom. I'll be right back. Oh, we got to get those super chats in. I do it for you, folks. These fucking idiots. I'll be back. Gotta fill up my water, hit the restroom for a minute. Sorry about that. Man, you gotta love watching this show, right? Yell at some lefty. Not a lefty, fucking blah 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 blah. Says this guy. Oh my goodness, what a chair did well. All right, more super chats. Pipe bomb was a match for training style bombs, says Germanicus for $2. Is that true? I think I've read that before, but I can't confirm it. James, thanks so much. $10 says, so what does this do for us, Rob? I already knew January 6th was a Reichstag fire, Rob. If leftists stop talking about January 6th, they'll bury it like COVID. Trump is a eunuch to the swamp. DC juries won't convict anyone. True. Here's the thing, though. No matter what, you think you know that it's a Reichstag fire. It's one thing to be 99.999% certain of something. It's another for someone to actually, in a position of official capacity, say, this is the person. This is what happened. And so, like, I find, like, there's this doomer pill thing of, like, you know, well, everybody knows that everything's corrupt, so why talk about anything being corrupt? Because we already all know it's corrupt. Yeah, it's, like, the wrong attitude to have, right? I mean, Trump did win, right? In part by talking about things like the corrupt system. If we had it the way of like, why talk about anything? We all know it's corrupt, so why even deal with it? Then Trump never has a chance to win. As far as Trump being a eunuch and nothing being done, that's probably true. Nonetheless, the more that people see, if it becomes 100% definitive that people believe, yep, the Capitol, or, you know, people with inside the FBI planted those pipe bombs, even if the FBI chooses to not do anything, maybe they'll be pissed off enough to vote for someone at some point that would. Mr. B, $20 says, the most enraging part of it all, where the fuck are all the Republicans or Trump and his administration? They're literally trying to kill us. Sorry, it's way too early to be this mad. Totally agree. Absolutely agree. How long, Nate? $5 says, morning, boss. Great show last night. Thank you, man. Mr. B, another 20 says, a leftist Democrat has never argued with you or debated you in an online sphere. It's always apolitical big brainers or real conservatives who happen to agree with the left on everything. So dishonest and cowardly. Yep. Airborne Animal, $10 says, people need to understand that leftists have no morals. They do not. They do whatever they can to win and justify it. They are relentless in the pursuit of power and control. They have no limits, and we've seen it. Totally agree. James, $10 says, half or more of the establishment GOP will not care either. Totally true. They're in corruption. If the GOP cared one bit about corruption, they'd shut down the D.C. federal courts created by Congress. Yep. Naughty Germ, $5. Thank you as always, my friend. OG, thanks for the gifted membership. And then $5. Thanks so much. Says, hope all is well, Rob. It's very good. Love arguing with these morons that call in. Jack, the guitar god, $5 says, how can we make you love us more than your family? Don't answer that. Not possible. Mr. P, $5 says, I take back him being a coward. I think he's dead wrong and a troll, but he had the balls to go in, so he gets some of my respect. Yeah, I want to apologize to the other guy named Fatty. Not fair. I just assume, what are the chances there's two people in the same debate sphere called Fatty? So I do apologize for the other Fatty. Other Fatty, if you ever want to talk, I'm down with it. Check the nuts. $10 says, stay on past 12:30. I can stay on till like 12:45. That's about it. I have a call I have to take. How long, Nate? $5 says, dude is ad equivocating nuance, bro. Yep. And Byron over on Rumble says, for the grift. And get your ass a copy of Robert W. Chambers' The King in Yellow. You finally read it, huh? Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Let's see if we can get those dono goals up there. Now I'm going to go real quick. We're going to go in reverse order real quick. Crisco, what's up? I got just a couple minutes for you. What's happening, my man? Oh, you there? Maybe I brought you up too soon. All right, that's okay. Bale Factor, what's happening, man?
Good morning, Rob. This is a beautiful little presentation you got with January 6th. And, I also need to say these lefties, or whatever that guy was, I mean, wherever faction he comes from, they're not sending their best.
Yeah,
sure.
I talked to him in the past. I think that he is someone that's like from a group of people that are trolling me. I don't know so much that he is such an obvious troll, but I will admit this. I get a little fired up about this shit to what my answer is usually, why aren't more people fired up? Now, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's not as if I'm not presenting evidence of saying exactly what I'm saying. And when he's like, well, yeah, basically I agree with you, then what's the point? I mean, imagine believing, yeah, the FBI is corrupt and engaged in a two-tier system to take down the president of the United States. But I more want to focus on the fact that you're bombastic, and I don't like that. That's your point. Yeah, that's what you're going to argue. It's like, okay, but
yeah, it's the definition of tone policing.
Correct.
And really, really quick, I didn't get to watch your previous streams on this, but I wasn't, and I'm not optimistic about where we are going into the midterms, even though it's a year out. And I really wanted your opinion on Trump's suggestion to end the filibuster for the government shutdown. I don't think we have the political will for that. We haven't demonstrated the ability to turn out Republican voters like how Democrats can with Roe v. Wade and whatnot. So, I think it's a bad idea.
Well, not only it's a good idea and a bad idea for the opposite way of what people would think. There is not a political will. There's probably 14, 15 Republican senators that would refuse to do it. But here's why it would be both a good idea and bad idea simultaneously. Because what it would do would be to expose the fact that Republican senators don't want Trump to have his agenda. And so if they only needed let's say the Democrats, for whatever reason, were like, yep, we're all just abdicating. We're never showing up for a vote. And that the law said that you're able to pass things based on just like, okay, all we need is the Republican votes. They wouldn't have them. They just wouldn't. Like the Democrats are irrelevant. And so right now the Republicans could pretend, shucks, we do things like repeal Obamacare. If only we had the votes. We just can't get those Democrat votes. We do things on mail-in voting. If only we had the votes. If the system ended and it's like, okay, you don't need the votes, now the Republicans can do it, they would be like, yeah, we still don't want to do that, right? Yeah. So why would they ever end the filibuster? They're not going to, because if they did, it would expose them as they actually are perfectly fine with nothing being done. That's it. Not every Republican, maybe not even the majority, but enough that it would be impossible to actually get the agenda passed. I mean, you got at least 10. They're going to be like, fuck that. We don't want radical change. We like the establishment orthodoxy. We like that it's us and the Democrats that are our buddies that have this power, and we don't give a shit about the will of the people. And we don't give a fuck if mail-in voting occurs, and we don't give a fuck about Obamacare and all that shit. We don't care. We don't care about any of that. We don't care about ending corruption in the D.C. Circuit Court. Don't give a shit at all. In fact, that's good for us because we don't like Trump. We don't like the fact that Trump came in our party and took away what we thought was our birthright, that we were the people in charge. Jeb Bush was the next guy in line. Mitt Romney was the next guy in line. Paul Ryan was the next guy in line. Lindsey Graham's the next guy in line, not Donald Trump. We don't like that. And so we don't want his agenda passed. And why would they ever do something that exposed them to the... You think Langford, the guy that tried to have the bipartisan bill to allow 5,000... Yeah,
that's also something that... That's also something that kills me because, you know, it's like they play games with the word bipartisan because it's like I'm trying to remember what some Republican led bills were. They're not like it would be as stupid as like, oh, the I don't know what Fetterman believes.
Here, I'll get right. It's a bipartisan. The spending bill, the CR that Trump that Republicans are putting right now is bipartisan. Fetterman voted for it.
Yeah, exactly.
There, it's bipartisan. The bipartisan spending bill that the Republicans have pushed out. And Democrats refuse to vote for the bipartisan bill. Of course, Democrats would correctly be like, what are you fucking talking about? Just because there's one or two Democrats that are okay with it, that doesn't make it bipartisan. Oh, but that's the way it was with the Langford. Now, the truth is, though, let's steel man their argument. Langford's bill was bipartisan because the truth is there's an awful lot of Republicans that are more than happy with illegal immigration. So they're sort of right. My argument is that the institutional establishment, right, that was ran by people that both the Republican and Democratic Party were more than happy to acquiesce to, is corrupt. And Trump's coming in as a potential outsider. Now, it doesn't matter if he's corrupt in a different way or whatever. He's just not in the same corrupt team as them. So they don't like it. And so, yes, in part of that, am I shocked? Like, it's like when people say this, James Comey was a Republican. He's a Republican. So how could you, Chris Wray, Republican? How could you assume that a Republican would go after a Republican? That's nonsensical.
That's literally the only time they give Republicans any credibility, by
Correct.
the way.
If they're attacking other Republicans. And so Adam Kissinger, Liz Cheney, these are Republicans that went after Trump, which they can't be corrupt. They can't have a personal agenda. And I'm like, my argument is that both sides are fucking corrupt. And that we need outsiders to go in there to deal with it. And your response to that is, but these people are Republicans. Right. Which was my argument from the get-go. So, I don't know. It gets frustrating, right? Like, I understand there is an argument to be had that if someone from your own side's raising an eyebrow and be like, wait a minute, that puts more veracity into it. But when it's easy to see, like, for example, John McCain was instrumental in pushing the Steele dossier. The fact that he's a Republican's irrelevant. He was an enemy of Donald Trump. Everybody knows it. And to pretend otherwise, like, well, but they're both Republicans, right? Like, come on, dude. You can see how much they disliked each other. Same with Kissinger. Same with Liz Cheney. John Fetterman, does Fetterman hate Chuck Schumer? I don't think so. Like, Fetterman's just like, yeah, I think this shutdown's a bad idea. So I'm going to vote for the CR. I don't think he's doing it because, like, he hates Schumer like McCain hated Trump. You know, that's not my reading of it, but I'll give you the last word on it.
Yeah, and that's I appreciate that. So I really wanted to, since we're talking about, you know, various people on the left online, I really wanted to share my screen so I could highlight a very specific instant of like funny instance of sort of Democrat priorities. How do I share my screen?
There should be a button down at the bottom that says Present. Yes, click that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, share screen. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think it's this one.
Okay.
So, you know, if I can, we're not going to watch the video, but if I can read this real quick. Ex-gymnast, Dr. Larry Nassar, who abused underage girls in needing to pay gang members with sexual favors for protection in prison. Good. He deserves even worse. Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 175 years for sexually abusing hundreds of gymnasts. Nassar has to SD to stay alive, according to the new report from the New York Post, yada, 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 yada. And now, guess who responded to this? Let me share another tab real quick. Okay. Here we go. Our favorite omni-liberal responses to this post are a good example of what I mean when I say that most people have no principles. Oh, wait, I need to use his voice. We need to forgive prisoners and reform them and let them back into society. Only applies to people when they don't believe they committed crimes they find objectionable. Now, I just want to remind everyone that grieving Charlie Kirk, grieving widow, perfectly fine to make fun of, but people and people, being angry about this guy, who, by the way, has a long history of you saw what I just read. It just goes.
But now, if I can, I think you're reading that wrong. If I'm honest, I think he's criticizing the left. I think he's saying that the left says, "Oh, we need to let people back in society. We need to rehabilitate." But here,
no, I'm perfectly but the way I see it is he'll criticize the left. And it's not even like really left-wing people who are going on about that, but it's just he's criticizing the left for his let's say that what you're saying is true, right? He's criticizing the left for going after Larry Nassar, but not for going after Charlie Kirk's widow or the Corey Compatore. Did you see what I mean?
I don't know. I kind of look at it like he's saying, look, the left says we should rehabilitate people, but not this guy. It shows they don't have standards. He would probably say, fuck this guy, let him rot, and fuck Charlie Kirk, and fuck his wife. So I don't know what the double standard there is. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it's just, all right.
You know what I mean? Like, if he's saying, well, wait, we have to have forgiveness for Larry Nassar, then you're making a point. I don't know that that's what he's saying. I'd have to read it myself.
No.
And try to really think of.
Yeah, and like it's like the priority. So it's like he's like I said, like he's perfectly fine. He's perfectly fine making fun of the people who've died for their politics. But if Larry Nassar were to die, you'd have Destiny be the whoa guys, like slow the roll. Like you don't think that's a bit weird?
Well, no, I don't think he would say slow the roll. He'd say, yeah, fuck Larry Nassar. He'd say, those of you that say, oh, we have to be, anytime someone dies, we have to be like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. And those of you that are like, fuck Larry Nassar today are full of shit. You're in a double standard. He'll say, but fuck Larry Nassar and fuck Donald Trump and fuck Corey Compatore and fuck Charlie Kirk. I say fuck all of them. That would be his take. I think that now unless his take would be, if there's evidence that his take would be like, oh, I feel bad that Larry Nassar died, then you have a point. But if his point's just lefties would say, oh, or right wingers would say, oh my God, fuck this guy, I'm glad he died. Like, but they won't say that about other terrible people, fine. Or if lefties say we have to have compassion and rehabilitate and release people, but with Larry Nassar, they're like, nope, throw him in prison for the rest of his life. These are double standards. I don't think he has a double standard on this. I think his point would be like, unless there's evidence that he is forgiving of Larry Nassar, which I don't see, I think his point would be like, fuck him and fuck all the aforementioned people as well.
I guess I'll leave it with this. Like, if Larry Nassar's crimes were like being arrested for being a right winger, you wouldn't see Stephen saying this is basically what I'm saying. But he'll choose to say this for someone who's done crimes as heinous as this, which I just find insane.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, part of this whole thing is the connection to Jim Jordan, though, correct? Or now that might have been that's different. Never mind. I have something mixed up in my head. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know. It's possible that you're seeing a connection that I'm not. And I mean, if Larry Nassar was a right winger, would he be saying, hey, lefties that are saying this guy should rot in jail? What about, yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know. You could be right. I'm not sure, to be honest. I just don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But I think that probably if I looked at the comments that the left wingers that he's criticizing are basically trying to connect Larry Nassar as a right winger. And so I don't know. Else, why would the left be talking about it? I guess.
Well, it's not. All right. Well, yeah, he is. I guess he's criticizing the left in his tweet, but the responses to the first tweet I showed weren't really of any obvious left wingers, which is why I still find it strange.
Yeah. Well, fair enough, man. Well, hey, thanks so much for the call in. I got one other call to get to. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
But we'll talk soon, man. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Avarice, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I think Krishko came back. He said he went to get snacks if you wanted to bring him
He's not in the
back on.
He's not in the room, though.
Oh, I saw in the private chat.
Yeah, it's just you and him. Or you and Bale Factor, yeah.
Oh, well, there we go.
He's gone. He's
gone.
Well,
I just wanted to let you know I put cameras all around your house because you're guilty, and I called it because I said it.
I'm guilty? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that guy called in before. He's a character.
All right, what about Jake?
I think I'm supposed to have a call with him at 1. So that's where I gotta run.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I wonder, I think Andrew's also debating at 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he has a debate. Well, 3 on the whatever. And then he has 3 debates back to back to back, and then next days, I think.
Yes. And I'm trying to, it's so difficult to find like details. I know he's debating enemy Charlie today.
Yeah, and then Amaranth tomorrow.
Oh, he's debating Amaranth?
Yeah.
What?
And then the olive jar lady.
Naomi, or whatever her name is. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, what'd you think of that debate last night? It was
so thank you. I will give you my tithing because you won me $100. Inside that house bait, the missus. I bet the missus $100 that there would be a PowerPoint opening with First Amender.
Well done. Great.
I got the PowerPoint.
Dude, she did. Yeah, man. The missus, she's not watching these lefties, man. They're all about the PowerPoint now. I don't know what it is. Hilarious.
And then there was that party at my house last night, and so everybody's like, it's just loud and screaming. So that was going on. I had the grid. I was on grids.
Yeah, you were on grids. You interviewed with Grid, yeah.
Yeah, and so then I think Spiro and I are gonna continue on with that conversation as well.
Awesome.
So,
no, that's great. Yeah, it was a frustrating debate with that First Amender guy. But I mean, I do think that the big takeaway is so many times, like when you just listen to these lefties talk. I was a little harsher with this guy today because he was talking shit in the chat. But like with that dude, I could have sat here the whole night and just been like, and just First Amender talking was going to make people that were like on the fence be like, yeah, I don't think I want to send food stamp money anymore. I don't. Like, just listen to this guy arrogantly be like, we have to have them soda. They're entitled to it. And, it's like, oh my God. Like, it's so bad.
It's making us money.
One of the complaints that I had that's legitimate is people were like, why didn't you talk about non-citizens getting it? Why didn't you talk about fraud? How would I have had time? Right? Like every time I open my mouth, he's like yelling over top of it and this, that, and the other. The problem is when you get into it's like this guy that just called in here. There's 100 points I could make about the corruption of the FBI, but you have to follow the logical train of progression of what's happening. So he's like, well, it's partially corrupt. What does that mean? What does partially corrupt mean? Well, they should have gone after Trump. Why? Because his business ties. Okay, so and then it's like, okay, we spend 20 minutes and then we circle back to, I already said it was corrupt, right? And then I'm like, and so from an outsider's perspective, it's like, when you look at it, you're like, wow, we really didn't get that far. And it's the same with First Amender. Like, we go down this train and basically he just takes this big loop to get right back where he started. Like, that's what happens. And it's like, it sucks. Like, if you see me, for example, debate Andrew Wilson, one of the things that makes those debates fun is it's progressing the whole time. Hey, Andrew, if you're against gay marriage for X, and I could prove that interracial marriage also led to X, would you be for banning it as well? Yes. Moving on. See? It's not, I never said that. What kind of hypothetical is a false dichotomy? Blah, 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 blah. And then you spend 20 minutes, and then he's like, yes. And it's like, so we just wasted 20 minutes on meta bullshit. That's sort of, and that's why, like, watching someone like Andrew or me debate's fun, because we'll just say, yeah, Here's the answer. And then we try to progress it. But it's so frustrating to debate people like that because, well, the point is, like, people are like, Rob versus Andrew. Why? I mean, we'll do it for funsies. But how about we're trying to win a fucking culture war in political world? Right? And so it's like when we agree on 98% of shit, what's the utility of us, just boredom because we can't find lefties that could fucking debate? So we just debate each other?
I found enough last night. So they were downstairs in my living room. And yeah, dude, it was crazy. So, and I hate the fact that I hang out with you in the Foundry more. So my rhetoric is like really finite. So I'm down there. There's a liberal Lutheran, and some others out there. And I'm like, well, let's talk about this for a minute. They're like, and these are some big dudes. We're almost going blow for blow here. They're so like they're actually up on me, like chest up, and I'm like, oh my god,
crazy.
Yeah, I'm hoarse from the other night. Look I made a fool of myself, but it was for Spiro.
No, it wasn't a fool at all. Spiro made a fool of himself, but we were great. Dude, I laugh so much, like inside my mouth, it's not really ulcers, but like my mouth's not used to just being like this for like 3 hours. Pretty crazy.
I just hope that everybody had a good time.
They did.
All that mattered.
Well, I thought it was a blast. It was my favorite show I've done in fucking months. I thought it was wonderful. So, and not just because of the donos, which helped, but also just because it was just it was a lot of fun. And it is funny, like legitimately Spiro's like, yeah, this sucks. I don't want to do this, which makes it much better. It's like, yes.
Well, now you get and the fun part is now you're actually seeing what the audience sees when we put in the donos, and we're going out there and we get to see the fun in it,
Yeah, for me, I don't see the fun when I'm listening to the whip song 73 times in a row. I
could have done that. I could have gone all night long. It was fantastic.
All right. Well, hey, Avarice, I will see you later. We're less than a week out now. Dude, I get my car Monday. So I think if I get this car, it's got 3 rows of seats, so I don't have to get the rental car. So I'm all excited. I'm going to get the car Monday. And then,
I already got the nice silver Sharpie for you to sign all mine.
Oh, yes.
I will fantastic sign silver tip.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little robnoerr signature.
All right, man.
Get your signatures.
We'll talk soon, man. Thank you so much as always.
You have a good one, Rob.
Yep, you too. Did lose his voice there. Joe, real quick, man, what's happening?
Very, very quick. I can call in another time. I'll make a quick point, and then maybe we address it when you have more time. But when the fellow there the other day in the debate said that he didn't want any of the subs after he lost the debate so badly. You know what, Rob? How about we call in when you got a little more time, and I'll take 2 or 3 minutes to set it up and then have you.
Okay, yeah, that's perfectly reasonable, man. But it's a very interesting topic because there's actually a lot to point to with that. So it's very interesting. So
right on. Hey, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, old Joe. All right. So like I said, I got a call, I think with Jake Rattlesnake and some folks here about some Crucible business coming up here at 1. So I'm going to have to leave here in the next couple minutes and then get ready for that call. I got like 10 more minutes with you, though. And now is the time to harass you all to send donations. First, I'll read the donations already sent. Call me, GL. Thank you so much. Gives 10 memberships. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Mr. B, $5 says, caller sounds like Shao Kahn. Can you ask him to say, finish him? Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Fatality. You're talking about Bale Factor. He does kind of, doesn't he? Wicked Wally, $5 says, I refuse to let Millie play as tank in World of Warcraft because it goes against everything I believe in to hide behind a woman. Also, I'm not Hunter Avalon. Oh, that's a burn. That's a real burn. Tacit Tempo, $5 says, do you think Israel run out of money with all the 7,000 they're giving out on X right now? It's a farmable strategy. I don't know how I could get in on it. I don't know, man. I'm waiting for Big Soda and Israel to send me my check. I'll put a suit on. Sal, real quick, you got 30 seconds. What's up, man?
Hey, Rob. How you doing?
Good, good.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question that I thought was pretty interesting. So you and a lot of people in your sphere say that Democrats fabricated January 6th, right?
No, that's not what I said.
Well, what is it that you say then?
I think there was a legitimate riot that occurred on January 6th. I think that there were key people in the establishment and some that were Democrats that intentionally set up a house of cards that would encourage a riot that would then make it into the Capitol.
Okay, so why would Democrats, being so close to certifying an election, to gaining power, why would they give Trump the opportunity to show how much support he has to the rest of the Republican elected officials and give them the opportunity to go along with Trump's plan?
So
That everybody knew what
let's do
he was trying to do.
a pros and cons of this, right? And look at this. So your argument is that this would be a bad move by Nancy Pelosi, Democrats, etc., because this would show Republicans in Congress that there was support for Trump's position.
It would show people like, Mike Pence was one of the people that was, mainly being sought after during the riot, and well, the rest of the Republican officials who didn't want to go along with Trump's plan.
Okay, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll assume that that's what you're saying. That would have been shown anyways, even if people didn't breach the Capitol. If 100,000 people show up to process something and they don't make it into the Capitol, it also shows Mike Pence, the rest of them, that 100,000 people are pissed about what was going on. So I think that we would call that non-unique. That already happened without these people getting into the Capitol. The benefit that they got was they were able to squash any sort of momentum from that point forward to question the 2020 election. And they were able to then weaponize the most powerful law enforcement agency in the history of the country to completely go after not just their opponent in Donald Trump, but also almost all of his supporters. They were able to effectively pressure social media companies to stop any sort of conversation about any corruption that occurred in the 2020 election season. So the benefit massively outweighed. In fact, the political capital that Joe Biden had when he came into office because of his sympathetic status of, oh my God, my opponents are trying to engage in an insurrection, outweighed any potential negative of, but now Mike Pence would know people were mad.
Well, I think you can make the argument on the opposite end that it only emboldened supporters and it only showed the strength.
How did it embolden? There was no weaker point for MAGA than immediately preceding January 6th. They were censored in mass online. Platforms that traditionally were starting to get big for right-wing voices like D-Lives totally capitulated and totally censored any sort of questioning of the 2020 election. Culturally and politically, MAGA was at a low point, probably the lowest point since before Trump started in 2016. How were they emboldened? Those that, I don't understand. You think that they were more emboldened because there was a riot January 6th than they would have been elsewise?
Yeah, nobody gets to shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk or whoever the fuck was that desk. I don't remember, but no group of people are able to claim that. And so, yeah, it only, in my opinion.
So I just want to be clear. Your argument is that the largest FBI manhunt in history, locking up people even for peaceful actions, emboldened Republicans to do more things like that because someone, quote, shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk and presumably got away with it. That's your argument?
I think that they were able to do something that nobody has ever been able to do, which that brings me to my next point.
I don't know what to say. This is one of the dumbest points I've ever heard, if I'm honest.
What are you talking about?
I think that there was the consequences that were heaped on the people of January 6th were so over the norm of what we would expect. For you to say, this emboldened them because now they're like, we could do shit that no one's ever done and get away with it is laughable. If that's the case, how many riots did we see MAGA engage with post-January 6th? Now that they're emboldened, go ahead.
The support only grew stronger, among the base.
You said that now they're emboldened to do things that they could do things like shit on desks that other people were incapable of. So then surely we've seen more actions like that. Go ahead. Show me the right-wing political riots. So they're emboldened, but they're emboldened. They're more emboldened. So just to be clear, your argument is, your argument is they are emboldened even more, but more reserved.
Hey, who won the following election, Rob?
Trump.
Yeah. So
despite all of this, yes, and
it emboldened them. You would think that there's only.
All right, man. See you later. Oh man. There you have it. Yes, they're emboldened now. That's why Republicans won. Republicans won the 2024 election because January 6th emboldened them. January 6th helped the Trump movement, is what he's saying. There you have it. All right. Anyways, 30 seconds, right? Yeah. I would have stuck around and talked longer to him, but I just don't have time. I got to go. All right. We got like 5 minutes. We need to get the dono bar up. I would accept 80% of the goal. I could accept that. Our friend Spiro, $5 says, I destroyed all of you with wit and banter the other night. I was clearly the winner that night. I sold my soul. Please help me. Spiro. Don't say the quiet part out loud. If that caller's so right that January 6th emboldened Trump supporters, then why did Democrats keep talking about it? They're just stupid? They made it a hyper-focus, noting all the while, this is hurting us politically. Mm-hmm. An Impone, thanks for the $10. Really appreciate it. So a number of people are claiming that they have sources saying it's not her that planted the pipe bomb, and the Blaze updated the story saying she was not Ratcliffe's detail at the CIA. Okay. If they're wrong, they're wrong. I don't believe that there have been people that have... How would... presumably, if people know that it wasn't her, then they know who it was? How would someone say, my source says it wasn't her, unless they know who it was? Or... presumably they have exonerating evidence that they're unwilling to release. As far as updating the story about Ratcliffe's detail, it's a detail that doesn't really matter. But it does impugn the credibility, I guess. If I update it, it says, editor's note, CIA spokeswoman Liz Lyons reached out to the Blaze News after publication, clarifying that while the subject worked in a campus security, she never assigned ejector John Ratcliffe's personal security detail. So she worked on the campus where he was at, but wasn't personally on his security detail. Data Republican. All right, let's see what she's saying. Can you show me? Can you put me into the link? So I'm looking at Data Republican. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I don't see anything where she's saying that it was not this woman. Update. Okay, Brianna Morello. Here we go. Another federal employee with knowledge of the January 6th pipe bomb investigation tells me they do not believe Kirchhoff had a role in the pipe bomb. Source tells me they know where she was. Okay, they know where she was at the time. Don't believe it's her. The FBI may have another suspect they're focused on in their investigation. She says, yes, I trust the person. The Data Republican's not saying that. She's merely saying that maybe the data obfuscating her actual location was planted after the fact. Then she says, I have an actual sources echoing Brianna's claim that Steve got the wrong person. I just don't usually use sources because my shtick is public analysis. We'll have to see. I hope Steve is right. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, we'll have to see what's going on. Yeah, I think Data Republican's a lady. I think she's blind, if I'm not mistaken. It's a blind lady. Which is kind of crazy to think how much research she's doing. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Over on Rumble, Someone named EXRXS in all caps says, nobody set up January 6th, you fucking retard. God, the conspiracy brain's just sad as fuck. It's a disgrace. Yes, blame Pelosi for January 6th. Great point, it's her fault. It was Pelosi and Pence who convinced the redneck idiots to shit on the floor of the Capitol. There you go. There you have it. Oh, she's deaf, not blind. Fuck it. Handicap. Who cares, right? All the cripples are the same. I'm just kidding. Wow, what a shithead I am. Same to me. They're all the same to me. Blind, fucking deaf, paraplegic, all the same. Ableist. Yes, it's true. Look at that. All right. I got 5 more minutes. Not even. Let's see if I can find someone to raid for you all. Now, I feel bad because I told EOD and Spiro that I would raid one of them, but I thought I would be streaming until 3, and I ended up having to do it earlier because of, their EOD's on. Good. We could raid him. Good stuff. Good stuff. Wicked Wally, $5 says, don't worry about the jokes, Rob. She can't hear him. Well said. It's like the old... One of my favorite clips ever from a musician, Weird Al, apologizing for the song Amish Paradise. He's like, I just want to say, there's been a lot of outrage in the Amish community about my song. And to any of you Amish listening to me right now, what the hell are you doing watching a TV set? You're not supposed to have electricity. It's like, yeah. Anyways, what do we need? $100 dono. $100 dono. Now listen, I know it's bad form. I get it. First off, if you don't send the money, that's perfectly fine. I am incredibly humbled by how much you guys support me. I really am. It means a lot. I am trying to really push, not just for getting to Nashville, but I also know once I'm in Nashville, that's probably going to be like a whole week that I'm not streaming. I'm going to try to do little streams from my phone, but I'm really not going to be streaming. So, seeing as how this is my job, it's like, I'm taking a 7-day non-paid vacation, so I'm trying to really push to hit the dono goal every day. But if we don't, that's okay. You guys are fucking amazing, for real. I know today's show is a little wonky, and to be honest, we're probably going to be talking about this pipe bomb shit tomorrow, and who knows, we might have more information on it. But it's definitely a story worth taking in, and the circumstantial evidence shows that there's something really crazy going on behind the scenes when it comes to this. So if anyone has a couple more dollars to throw to the donation, I'd really appreciate it. I don't know if anyone's live streaming Andrew's debate. That I don't know. But I think we're starting to call here soon, so. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that supports me. Yeah, sometimes I could be a little emotional, yelling, screaming, stuff like that. All part of the fun. And it's just genuinely how I feel about this shit, if I'm honest. But I am telling you what I honestly believe. So I hope that you appreciate it. Hope you appreciated the debate last night. That's probably the last debate I'll have before I make my way down there to DebateCon. So I can't wait to see you all there. So one last push. Get those super chats in. What we always have is, here's what's going to happen. Someone's going to throw like $100. Look at this. James, thanks so much. $10 says a few more dollars. James, don't get blackpilled. But also, you're right. The Republicans are dog shit, and Trump's probably going to do nothing, and they're going to get away with it all. That's probably what's going to happen. But that's all right. We proceed forward. Always positivity. What's going to happen is right at the end, during my outro of Charlie Kirk video, someone will send $100. I feel it. I feel that it's going to happen. That's what I think's going to happen. I think so. You guys are the best. I should be back on tomorrow night. Thank you to everyone who donated. Thanks to everyone watched, everyone who liked. We're going to be rating my friend EOD. Thanks to my mods, of which he's one. Thanks to Spiro. Thanks to Avarice, everyone who called in. Appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good one. And as always, remember that someone's going to send in $100 here in the closing. We know it. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to send $100 right during the closing video. You have like 1 minute from this point. But all joking aside, thank you guys so much. Please, please, always remember the memory of Charlie Kirk and what he stood for, how he was treated, assassinated, his family mocked, celebrated. The murder of him, never forget that. God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless his family. Thank you all so much. We'll see you probably tomorrow night. Don't forget, send that $100 in during the outro. We'll see.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.